This is Overwatch Draft. We use this map banning system for our games, and this is a best 3 out of 5, so we have at least 3 great games heading your way between EnvyUs and Google Me.
Yeah.
And right now, EnvyUs sort of going with the old school team ban style, taking out Temple of Anubis and Hanamura, and look at Google Me. They are taking out the payload maps.
Google Me, I think, wants to fight on King of the Hill, so they're going to let EnvyUs take out the control point maps, knowing that, they might be comfortable on control point maps too. I think Google Me, the entire strategy we're going to see through the whole set is we're taking out payloads, and if you want to ban anything else, go ahead, but we might leave you with 1 payload map left at the end, depending on who bans first, but we are taking out payloads. We are comfortable on control points. We are comfortable on King of the Hill, and the prophecy that I've been waiting for one team to dominate a King of the Hill mode and force teams to play on it might be coming true.
Yeah, I mean, Google Me is definitely trying to carve out that niche for themselves. I mean, it's very clear what their draft strategy is here. EnvyUs probably about to take out Lijiang Towers, and there it is. So they will have to go to a payload map, and if I were Google Me, I would bring EnvyUs to Dorado and not Gibraltar, because really, EnvyUs likes Gibraltar. We saw that earlier.
Right. Gibraltar is one of those teams that's or one of those maps that's very divisive as far as teams either really like Gibraltar or they really hate Gibraltar. It's not kind of a middle of the ground, safe, we can play it whenever, a Dorado-ish map or a King's Row, if you will. People generally have strong feelings one way or another on Gibraltar.
So, and Google Me not heeding my advice, and they are going to be bringing EnvyUs to Gibraltar, and that could be a mistake. I mean, we saw what Cool Mad did on Gibraltar earlier, and I mean, it wasn't just his Widow play, his Reaper play. I mean, how he was handling the different nooks and crannies of Gibraltar was just out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, conversely, though, Reaver played really well on Reaper in the King of the Hill mode, so they have to feel pretty good about their own. And also, I mean, if Short 4 is going to stay on the Genji is good on every map. And he's particularly good on Gibraltar because he can take the high ground of the shuttle area. He can walk up walls. He can take high grounds. And a lot of how Gibraltar operates is who's going to be able to dominate the high ground so that their team can push below it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's multiple ways these teams can run about this. I am curious to see. One thing we saw is that Google Me and Mixup were in on the double monkey meta that EnvyUs was doing. So EnvyUs coming with 2 Winstons is not going to be any sort of surprise for Google Me. They dealt with it in their last series, and they do it themselves. So there's no sort of meta advantage coming in for EnvyUs here.
No, not at all. I'm just really excited to see these teams play. I'm actually just so stoked that we got to see Google Me today. Last night felt like a teaser. Like they were playing well, but it wasn't against the top teams. We saw them against the top teams. They're now firmly in the discussion.
They absolutely are in the discussion. So we're just waiting now for both teams ready up. We're going to be getting in on Gibraltar very, very soon here. This is map number 1 of the grand finals, EnvyUs versus Google Me.
Yeah, grand finals of our GosuGamers NA Weekly. We'll be doing these next week as well. Saturday is EU, Sunday is NA. You can find those times at GosuGamers.net. We are, of course, sponsored by Rocat, DX Racer, and Matcherino.com.
Yep, great sponsors all, and Rocket, of course, has been with us since the very beginning. They've done really great work in helping sponsoring not just GosuGamers events, but Blizzard events in general. Huge shout outs to them. Matcherino, of course, they are getting into the esports scene. They're providing a great platform to do crowdfunding on for tournaments. We're going to have more from them next week, where you guys will be able to directly contribute to the prize pools and help esports grow even more in the realm of Overwatch. And DX Racer, I mean, who doesn't love a comfortable chair?
Yeah, I was gonna say something there, but I think it would have got me in trouble. So we're good. We're going to Gibraltar.
Don't get in trouble, Hex. Don't do it.
I've casted for like 2 days straight without saying anything really awful. So I'm gonna. Try
I know.
To keep
so you're due.
up.
So just
Yeah, I'll
go off air and then say all the obscene things you need.
Will do. I promise. Maybe I'll do it on my own personal stream. People can watch me curse like a strailer or curse like a strailer. Sailor.
Strailer. Yeah, what is a strailer? Is that just a new word you've made up here, Hex?
It's like a sailor who has lost his way at sea. He's a bit led astray, so it's a strailer. How do you not know this? So we're seeing the absolutely classic all Symmetra offense. Actually, I think this is the summoning ritual. We're going to try to get in and see it.
Are we seeing the summoning ritual? We saw this before where this is a Google Me special. They don't specialize in Torbjorns. They specialize in making the Symmetra circle.
Yeah, they're spelling something out with the turrets.
I mean, there's a lot of creepy... All right. I mean, it's still a creepy circle. It looks like a smiley face to lure you into a sense of security. If we're going to be honest here. That is what's actually going on.
Well, I enjoyed the summoning ritual.
But well, let's take a look at the EnvyUs setup here. We do have Tailspin on the Pharah again. We get to see some great top-level Pharah play. And EnvyUs one of the only teams to really sort of run this sort of very aggressive Pharah, but then again, Tails one of the only Pharahs that lands an absurdly high proportion of his rockets. So there you go.
Yeah, Tailspin does not, he believes that splash damage is a crutch. Why would I shoot the ground when I can just shoot you with it? We're going to see double Winston coming out from Google Me.
Yeah, for me, it's okay because we got double Winston coming out from EnvyUs. It's a very monkey-friendly game, but Reaver taking out Raz very quickly. Reaver, of course, very effective in the last series, but Tailspin and Matt striking back. Tailspin the double kill, Cool Matt taking out Kai, and I don't think things will go as smoothly for Google Me as it did on their last payload run.
Well, I mean, they kind of traded kills there, and the card is still in the exact same spot, so you have to feel kind of okay for Google Me. However, EnvyUs is still in a good position if they were, doing whatever they want to do right now.
Yep. Meanwhile, taking a look at it, let's not neglect Matt. Matt already at 53% ult charge. Obviously, he did an obscene amount of work in this area before, and he's a little bit behind. Actually, I think he needs to move up a bit.
Yeah, he's being a little too patient.
Yeah, I mean, there's patience, but hang on. I think he has somebody he can drop down on here. I don't know if he sees him. Sees a Zenyatta. He's being super patient, like patient to a degree. I think maybe too patient.
Yeah, now he's behind the cart, but they still didn't spot him. I'm surprised they did not turn to try to deal with Cool Matt. He came in and took out Reaver immediately. They had plenty of time to know he was there.
And you know what? Patience pays off. Cool Matt picking up a quick double kill as a result of that. Might be making a triple as Kai goes down. Tailspin picking that up instead.
Yeah, Short Forward does get it on Esper, but picking the Zenyatta is not as crucial to this team composition as it was to the mix-up composition.
We have right now, Tailspin does have Barrage. Cool Matt has his ultimate as well in Death Blossom, so big defensive ultimates about to be thrown down here by EnvyUs.
Yeah, and this is where they want to hold. It's such the benefit of the double Winston composition that they can put a tank up top to spot and delay if they try to come over the top. They can put another tank on bottom to delay when they go to the cart. They just have all sorts of versatility with this composition.
Yep, taking a look at Tailspin dropping rockets from above. Cool Matt getting value in the back with the Death Blossom. Barrage is yet to be dropped. Stoop going to go ape, and wow, direct rocket hitting Zenyatta in the face. But both teams going back and forth, and there's comes Surefour. Surefour getting the pick off, and he has Dragon Blade Hex.
Yeah, that might be enough to actually secure this point. There's a lot of kills that get on. They're going to try to kind of trickle in, but once you get this many kills on this point, they have such a hard time reinforcing on the defense because you have to go through these choke points.
You know, interesting thing though, it's like he has Dragon Blade, and then he gets punched in the back of the head by a gorilla. Just Overwatch things.
Just a typical Sunday afternoon.
So, we are going in here, Tailspin with Barrage up, Esper with, what's it called, Transcendence up. So they have all the tools they need here to really stymie the next push coming in from Google Me. But Google Me is looking pretty impressive. They finally got over the hump, and let's see if they can get through the hangar in a good time.
Yeah, after that first fight that they lost, which secured Google Me the second point, they were actually really smart and being patient again. They fell back into good defensive positions so that they didn't lose, they didn't get rolled over by the momentum that Google had. So they put Pharah up top, they put Raz up there with her. They're really holding the high ground, and they can absolutely shut down this push coming in. And this is when it gets really dangerous because the cart's far enough that the door's shut behind it. So now they have to funnel in through one of these 4 very small doors, and this is one of the reasons why some pro teams really hate Gibraltar.
And take a look at Cool Matt. Cool Matt is measuring them. He's setting them up. He has Death Blossom in tow. Here comes the Death Blossom. Gets 1 kill, gets 2 kills. He's gonna get taken out by Kai, but the damage is done. Meanwhile, what do we call Winston fight here? Like, I just slapfest?
I think it's probably a little more dangerous than a slap.
I mean, I don't know. You look at the damage it does versus their health. It's they might as well be slapping each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like hitting someone with 2 giant pillows.
So taking a look, Minstrel does have Sound Barrier up, which means, well, actually both teams have Sound Barrier up, so it's probably just going to be a wash on the next push. Both teams will activate it, and the other team will really gain an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the problems with Gibraltar. It's really hard for a team to find an entrance point. Surefour going in, but he's going to be focused down immediately. That does buy some time for the rest of Google Me to get in. Surefour is going to actually try to follow this up with his Winston as well. They did find some
Transcendence comes in. He doesn't have to blow his ult because he's just getting killed by Transcendence, and in comes Stoop, doing so much damage to pretty much the entirety of the team, but as that's happening, look at Surefour. Surefour able to pick off 2 kills. Adam picking up a 3rd, and Surefour doing work in the back until again he gets punched in the head by Raz. This is becoming a recurring theme.
Yeah, but that should be enough to start getting a little bit of progress on this cart with both Raz and Stoop now dying too. Esper being down. Tailspin is up and has this barrage, but I think Tailspin is smart enough to know he's not going to get the value out of it now. He's going to wait for setup.
Yeah, Tailspin actually has to be a little bit careful. He doesn't go too far up with him, Matt. If him, Matt, get picked off, that's going to be really, really bad. And I'm going to note, we have a Roadhog now.
Yeah, we've seen the Roadhog enter the meta a little bit, and it's a really good way to deal with those Pharahs with Lucio
grabs
right
Minstrel and takes him out. Nice hook coming out from Kai Kai. And now Kai Kai repping the hog. I'd love to see some Roadhog. Gets a 2nd hook in a row. Roadhog is going hog wild with these hooks right now, Hex. And this might be the switch up that Google Me needed.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of, once they started moving through that shuttle area, they were able to continue moving. And Roadhog is just a sniper pretty much with minimal range and tank utility. Like, you hook someone, your team should be able to at least follow it up and kill them. It's
So I apologize. There is a stream delay. I'm not sure how that happened on that, but it said Mix-Up instead of Google Me. Mix-Up was taken out. This is Google Me. We've been saying the entire time, but my bad. That's actually the first time that's ever happened to me, so apologies. But Google Me is pushing up, and they are doing really, really well right now.
I swear this never happens to me. See?
It never happens. Wow, speaking of never happens, Cool Matt comes in with a great death blossom, picks up the triple kill, and Stoop the exclamation point at the end, and that's going to be a full wipe in favor of EnvyUs.
Yeah, and they do have some defensive ultimates up too. So Surefour with his Dragon Blade up, Reaver with his High Noon up. They're going to look and probably wait for the support ultimates to come online before they combo those all into a final push.
Yep. So taking a look at Pharah here, we do have Pharah with ult charge. Tailspin looking to get back in, and Justice rains from above, but it's going to get mostly negated by the shields. He does still pick up the Lucio in the back, but he wasn't aware of the time alert. It was High Noon.
Yeah, not much. Reaver does end up picking up Esper with that High Noon too, and this offensive Transcendence might actually get some work done. There are 4 dead for Mix-Up right now, or for rather EnvyUs. Now you have me screwed up.
Yep. Look, I was saying Google Me this entire time. It was only the UI that screwed up, but that was a great offensive push by Google Me. They've pushed EnvyUs way back, and they're making some incredible progress. Junel gonna take out Cool Matt. That's big. Cool Matt, one of the biggest sources of damage. The Bash brothers of Tailspin and Cool Matt are down. Dragon Blade is out, and I tell you, Google Me is feeling it. They want to finish this right now, Hex.
Yeah, and I think at any second we're going to see Primal Rages come online. There comes one of them. It's so powerful during this last point. He's going to be hanging out right at the spawn door. They can't do anything about it. His health pool is so huge that he can just knock them back into spawn. He does get a couple kills, actually. In the
and
end
that's
of that
another 4
Primal Rage.
down. So I don't know if we're going to see Divas coming out or what, but I don't think they have time. Google Me going to complete the map, but a valiant defense coming out from EnvyUs there.
You think so? I don't know. I thought that was a pretty good time.
It was a decent time, but I think they held them for a long time at the first point and the hangar.
Yeah, that's true. Now, the first point didn't go as fast as it generally can. And the hangar, once it got going, they flew through it, though. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. I'm just so surprised with Google Me. I mean, they're making a name. Yep. They're absolutely making a name.
So 724, it's a pretty good time, really.
Yeah,
it's beatable by EnvyUs, but EnvyUs is going to have to really motor through.
Yeah, it does put pressure on EnvyUs. You know, they did finish the map. I think EnvyUs is in the position a lot of the times where it's like, it doesn't, as long as we finish, it'll be fine because we defended here and there. But the opposing team actually finished the map on EnvyUs. So 724 is a pretty solid time, too. I mean, it's not the fastest time, but considering the competition they're up against, I'd be pretty happy if I were Google Me. I think they're in a pretty decent spot to at least put up a close match. I doubt that EnvyUs is going to be able to roll through them like they're not there. So a good time, and it bodes well for Google Me in map 1 of our grand finals.
Yeah, no, it definitely, it's a good setup for them. I mean, really, the reason why I think EnvyUs didn't get quite as much time as they otherwise could have is that the last part, they just did not stop them at all in the final stretch of Gibraltar, and usually that's where things like Widowmakers and stuff will shine, but it just didn't happen there.
Yeah, I mean, they were patient in their strategy. They didn't overextend. They actually fell back on defense when it was smart to do so. They were able to set up a decent defense in the first stage of the hangar when they had a good setup over top of the space shuttle. But once that fell apart, they were never really able to mount a strong defense again. And, you know, some of the ultimates didn't have the value they had. And double Winston ultimates are amazing on this final point. They were just ticking down until Google Me was able to get those Winston ults, and then you just throw them at the door, and they can't get out. And if they get out, you can knock them off the edge. And once they did get out, they'd taken so many gorilla punches to the neck that they died immediately. So the double Winston composition is something we're seeing in the NA. This is kind of new, but it's become the staple, I guess, in just an afternoon in NA, and we see why. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah, and I mean, really, you look at it, it's like, if he's there, he's going to be knocking you back the entire time, and even if you finally kill him, which, you know, he has over 1,000 HP, enough time has been bought for his team to sort of just move the payload up. That being said, let's take a look at the offense here. For EnvyUs, we got Raz on Winston, Esper on Zenyatta, Cool Matt on the Widow, Stoop on Winston, Tailspin on Reaper, and Minstrel running out with the Lucio.
And it looks like Google Me is going to continue with the double Winstons with both Kiki and Shuanehil running on Winston. Shore 4 is actually going to run Reaper. Tech aside on Lucio. Reaver is going to play McCree, and Adam on Zenyatta, the safest Zenyatta.
Take a look at Reaver and Kai here. They're actually setting up for a Winston McCree flank, or it looked like it. Kai, though, definitely setting up for the flank, wants to get in on the back. They're probably just waiting to go in. They're all just going to swarm in as they try and go underneath here.
Yeah, he might actually just wait for the Zenyatta, too. I mean, the Zenyatta, or Esper, is playing very far back.
Yeah, and really, EnvyUs just sort of gave up the first checkpoint for free. I mean, they're really... Or, sorry, not EnvyUs, but Google Me gave up the first checkpoint for free, and I think they just want to defend back here where they have a bit more of a defender's advantage.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, you know, this arch is not really a checkpoint either. It's kind of the point where people actually start fighting, because this checkpoint here, you know, is actually what matters, and trying to hold them off earlier often just results in your team getting killed.
Yeah, and look at that. Big setups coming in from Google Me. They're going to wipe out the entirety of the EnvyUs team. Good poke coming out from Reaver, and a solid follow-up from Shore 4 really sealed the deal there.
Yeah, a nice first hold, and they're definitely going to have to regroup on offense, waiting for Cool Matt to come up. They are running double Reaper now, double Winston, and Lucio, and one Esper on Zenyatta.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see where this goes here. Again, though, double Reaper, we've been seeing a lot more of it, particularly in offense. It's just good against a double Monkey. I mean, if you're going to run double Winston, why not double Reaper?
Yeah, I mean, it is the counter, and also complementary to your own composition as well. Big melee going down in the corner here.
Yeah, Reaver picking up 2 people. That was a great play by Reaver. And I just want to give shout-outs to Adam here. Adam has been the most consistently alive Zenyatta that I think I've seen between yesterday and today. I mean, he has been on point, very safe, but still landing Discord Orb after Discord Orb and keeping his team healed up.
Yeah, I mean, it's that global presence that he has. I'm actually surprised, or I won't be surprised when people try to start running Widowmakers against him just to try to pick off Adam. His constant survivability has got to be a big bane to other teams.
Interesting to see this this late into the game, but neither team really has too much in the way of ults. Transcendence, though, does come up, and EnvyUs is going to try and use this to push in, but they've yet to get a single kill as it's been up. Minstrel and Shore 4 trading off kills, and not really clear who's going to win here. Stoop getting a kill. It's really back and forth, a true melee between teams. We do have a sound barrier coming up, though, and that's really going to help EnvyUs.
Yeah, a couple Primal Rages go down, and teams are trading out. Adam does finally die to Tailspin after killing Minstrel, so this kind of opens it up for EnvyUs to be able to push this cart. And I think they're going to be able to take the point. I would imagine that Google Me is going to be smart and just set up on defense here rather than throwing bodies into the point. That's what they're doing. So times are pretty even and pretty close, but I think Google Me might have got that first point a little faster.
They very well might have. Note that EnvyUs now is dealing with 4.5 minutes to complete the map. It's an okay amount of time, but they can't waste too much time in the hangar because they can't count on going through the last point as quick as Google Me did to them.
Yeah, we see Tailspin getting very aggressive, trying to take the shuttle, and both the Winstons for Google Me are having none of that.
Yeah, and we're watching Tailspin right now. He does have Death Blossom on command, but actually, taking a look at Shore 4, Shore 4 going to come in, has the Death Blossom up. He is going to drop it any second now. Just chasing down Lucio as normal, in fact, saving it.
That was a really interesting kind of engage, if you will, of the sound barrier on defense. And what happened is they sent one of their Winstons all the way back to the door to try to knock off the retreat path too. So they were getting kills as EnvyUs was trying to back out of it. Now Esper in a terrible position.
Yeah, we're seeing really a lot back and forth. Esper, though, still staying alive. Orb still on Tailspin, and Tailspin using the Reaper Orb really to great effect.
Yeah, Stoop chasing down Adam is very far in the back line. Tailspin comes in to try to get some work done against both of these Winstons. He's the hero to do it. He's also got the Zenyatta Orb, so he's going to be able to sustain.
Well, the way the orb is working, it's basically making him immune to Winston damage. Winston just doesn't do that much damage. We do see a Death Blossom coming from Tail, mitigated somewhat by the Transcendence. Really, on both sides, Transcendence mitigating.
Yeah, the problem is Adam had to go really far in there to try to keep his team alive, and he ended up getting chased and killed, and that's one of 4 kills by EnvyUs. That's a lot of kills going to be right in a row, and it seems like they're going to be able to capture this point.
Oh, and taking a look at Esper marking down these Winstons. A Winston that is hit by a Discord Orb is not a Winston that's very long for this world.
No, it turns that monkey into a chimp. I don't know what that means, but I'm sticking with it.
I was gonna say, so he turns from a monkey to another kind of a monkey?
Chimps are smaller than gorillas, yes?
I mean, I guess, but like monkey could also refer to chimp.
Okay, he turns that gorilla into a bonobo.
Whatever, we'll roll with it. In any case, looking at the time here, EnvyUs making good time. They still have about a little under 2.5 minutes left to cap, and Google Me needs to get a few team wipes here if they want to take this map.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, this is a map that you can defend on last for long, but they're on their back feet. It's like they're getting pushed back on roller skates here. A couple good kills, though. Raz and Tailspin both down. That's going to give them some breathing room. Cool Matt and Tailspin both with their Death Blossoms up, though they have to be very careful. Adam has to be alive for whatever the next engagement is, because he has Transcendence that could save his entire team.
Well, taking a look at the ults coming out here, he has Transcendence, and Reaver has Death Blossom. He's got to be thinking about going in sometime soon here. He's trying to take out Tailspin. Tailspin with both orbs on top of him. Transcendence does come out from Esper, and here comes the Death Blossom. Shuanel, Kai, and Reaver going in. They've picked up 3 kills together, and EnvyUs is going to find themselves pushed a bit back here.
Yeah, we've talked about how well Adam is playing, but Technicide with a really, really patient sound barrier, waiting for a chance when his team could actually engage again with the extra shields. That sound barrier came off so late in the fight and allowed Google Me to be able to chase them all the way back, and really was the core of that defensive hold.
So taking a look at this here, really, EnvyUs only with 1.5 to 2 pushes really left here. They need to make this count while they have ults on Cool Matt and Raz, and ults are somewhat down on the defending side. If they're going to win, I think they need to do it on this push, Hex.
Yeah, I think Raz is going to pop his ultimate. He does. Primal Rage comes off. He's trying to create chaos amongst the defensive ranks, but there are 3 kills. Shore4 and Reaver now combined for 4 kills in quick order. Only Raz alive. Raz goes down too. EnvyUs gets completely wiped off the board.
Yeah, and now you look at the time, it's 45 seconds, and there's no overtime when it comes to stopwatch. The map must be complete. So at this point, they really have to move if they're going to win this.
Yeah, playing defense here, they could just stall the cart out by throwing bodies at it. We might see a Diva defense, even though we haven't seen that in Phase 2 of Beta. Although now that they are coordinated this push, they don't have any ultimates on either side. Tailspin finally gets his ultimate. Adam running the defensive ults.
Yeah, the Transcendence does come out to try and buy a little bit of time. They don't have to buy that much time. It's 18 seconds left on the clock, but Tailspin with the big team wipe. We could be looking at a photo finish here. They just need to stall it for a little bit longer. 11 seconds. I don't think they have time. But then again,
Rage. Look, it's the monkey at the door again.
8 seconds. 7 seconds. I'm not sure they're going to get 2 seconds.
No,
1 second.
Technicide gets out onto the cart.
It's over. Google Me has won, but man, the margin is not very big at all. So Google Me's going to take map 1 and a very, very close finish. Wow.
Yeah, that's the advantage of going offense first on this map. My goodness, that was such a close round.
In terms of rounds, the time for Google Me was 7:24, and I think the time for EnvyUs was maybe no more than 7:30.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Shore4 and, you know, actually, we talked about Cool Matt on the Reaver on the other side, but man, Shore4 and Reaver both really knocking out some really nice plays.
I'm not sure why. It seems the match time was a little less close than that. I'm seeing the match time here is 7:44, so.
Well, that's when they actually finished. Yeah, well, I mean, still,
it's still pretty close. I thought it was a little bit closer, but in any case, wow.
Google Me. Google Me. I mean, I guess that's going to be their name, unless some sponsor picks them up. It's interesting to say. But if
Google picks them up? Then they could probably just remain as Google Me.
That's true. Isn't there
Google getting into
Heroes of the
esports?
Storm right now too? There's some sort of Google-based
Is there?
team. No, I don't think it's actually sponsored by Google, but they have Google in their name. But if you want to, all right, go ahead. I'm lost for words.
Very, very close game between both games or teams. I don't really have much to say, but Google Me potentially acting as the Kingslayers here, taking out Mix-Up and now going up 1-0 over Hubris on Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Yeah, EnvyUs is the top team in Overwatch until they're unseated, but I think even if they somehow pull this back off, Google Me has to be like right up there in the conversation. They beat Mix-Up, so you can't say that Mix-Up's better than them. They just beat EnvyUs in a very close game. We might finally have some true parity and competition at the top of NA.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Mix-Up, of course, was one of the strongest teams. They did go down in a close set. Well, actually, it wasn't even, it was close, but it was dominant for Google Me. They won in 2-0, and the King of the Hill was pretty solid for them, 2 rounds, so.
Yeah, I think Google Me is definitely looking to try to get on non-traditional maps. They're trying to get on King of the Hill for sure. We might even see them try to bust out some control points. So they're really putting pressure on their opponents as far as in the map phase bans. They're really winning that meta, much like we saw Eccentric do a couple weeks ago or just last week. But they were obviously comfortable on King of the Hill, and they forced teams into uncomfortable bans, and they really won the map picking phase of the game.
Definitely so. So we are getting into the next draft. The bans are underway. We are not taking a break. And let's get into the draft. And Alt tab. Questionable and questionable by the day. So EnvyUs taking out Temple of Anubis and Volskaya, and I think we're just going to see Google Me continue to take out these payload maps and really dictate the map that they want to play on.
Yeah, I mean, the onus is on EnvyUs. Google Me, I think, is just showing, like, we feel comfortable wherever. We're going to take out the maps that you like, and then we'll take whatever's left. We feel we can beat you on any map. It's really, really an impressive kind of mind game that they're playing.
Yep, and I mean, because they're comfortable on King of the Hill, it's really giving them this big, big advantage in choosing their payload map. I mean, honestly, strategically, all points go to Google Me right now.
Yeah, and I mentioned early on, as soon as we brought this map banning phase into our tournaments and that King of the Hill was introduced, that, even as teams shy away from it, teams ought to be working on these map modes because they're not going to be banned out forever. The meta is not going to change. Someone is going to start winning King of the Hill maps and control point maps, and you better be prepared for when you're forced to fight on them.
Yeah, and Dorado, Hanamura, and Kings Row are the only maps left. I think EnvyUs is going to take out Hanamura here, which means we might be going to Kings Row because I think Google Me likes Kings Row.
Yeah, Google Me actually bans out Hanamura there. EnvyUs now with the choice of maps between Dorado and Kings Row.
I think we go to Dorado because EnvyUs would like the bigger sightlines for map, but hard to say. I could see reasoning for Kings Row as well.
Yeah, Kings Row, of course, EnvyUs ought to be careful to not get back capped. Google Me has shown that strat is in their arsenal. Either one, I think EnvyUs should be very comfortable on. None of them are really new maps. They've played both forever. So we are going to the old standby, Kings Row.
Kings Row. And now the real question is, will we be seeing 6 Hanzos like we've seen from multiple teams now on this map?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, even when you get the pick, it's not even worth. It doesn't matter. I enjoy it because it amuses me, and I like seeing scatter shots anger people. Even though I don't play Hanzo myself because I can't even aim when you can spam arrows, I guess. So, fine, maybe we do. I'm actually much more interested to see if Adam never dies again. Like, is his Kings Row defense Zenyatta play?
Also, X, at some point, you have been removed from the lobby.
Well, I think I might have left game because I'm an idiot, so invite me back.
How dare you hit escape?
I was excited. There we go, I'm back.
All right, we got you back in. We're ready. Players are ready. Sides are final, and we're going to get into map 2. EnvyUs versus Google Me, and Google Me striking first blood against EnvyUs, going up 1-0.
Yeah, Google Me. I mean, maybe if you weren't with us yesterday, but you and I have been following the storyline since its very beginning. Though the one shot club tournament last night featured some, I guess it's fair to say lower level teams that aren't established quite in the scene yet. And Google Me was just stomping through them, ran all the way to the end, and we wondered how good they actually were. Were they just beating up on teams that they were better than? Could they compete with the top teams in NA? And clearly the answer is yes, they can compete, and they might be the best team in NA.
And it's also interesting because we're seeing a different meta from the NA teams than what we saw from the EU teams just yesterday in the EU Cup, or even earlier today in the Game On tournament.
Yeah,
so really...
And we're seeing different metas in both from, a week ago, too. It's changing so quickly and so fast. Teams are developing new strategies. It's what an exciting time to be alive. in Overwatch beta.
Very, very much so. So, for those who are just tuning in, this is the grand finals of the Overwatch North American Weekly, and Google Me is up 1-0 over EnvyUs. They struck first blood over the heavily favored EnvyUs team, and we're just waiting to see what comes of it.
Look at this defense. This defense looks like a Kings Row first offense. Apparently, they just like these classes a lot. Double Winston.
The
double
2-2-2, 2 Winstons, 2 Reapers, 2 Lucios. We're seeing this a lot more now. I don't know if it's because Winston, Reaper, and Lucio are just incredibly god tier or what, but seems to be a thing.
Lucio's definitely strong. Winston seems pretty strong with his life, and Reaper's always been very good. So we are going to see double Winstons out of Google Me as well. Reaver for the moment on May, going to Reaper as I assumed. Tech aside, I give Adam a lot of love, and he's going to work with Shore4 on that Genyatta combo, but Tech aside also playing a really nice Lucio too. So it's going to be mostly the Genyatta combo, how much they can get done here.
Yep, Shore4 going to the Flash is going to, as you said, go with the Genyatta combo, and I'm curious to see what he gets done on this first point here. He doesn't really have the greatest targets, so I mean, Reaper, he has to get on the Lucios, but he has to go through a wall of Winstons and Reapers to do that.
Yeah, Lucio's extremely hard to kill. Look at this aggressive defense by EnvyUs. They get in really quick.
They're going this aggressive defense, and Shore4's like, wait a second, guys, I went to flank you. Why are you killing my entire team?
Yeah,
so,
Shore4 just has to sit back and watch the carnage.
Yeah, that's one downside, is that you go along for a big flank like that. It's a little bit bad if your team dies while you're going for the flank. So, very aggressive defense coming out of EnvyUs. It wipes them out in the very beginning here and buys them some very critical amounts of time.
Yeah, and Adam died, and then Shore4 dies shortly after, so that's 10 seconds without the pivotal engine to their composition up, so that is a really good first stop by EnvyUs.
EnvyUs doing really, really well thus far, but again, we're actually getting a switch up here. We're no longer will Shore4 be on the Genji. He's going on Reaper, so they're fighting power with power here. The only difference being, instead of 2-2-2, they're running a Zenyatta instead of a second Lucio, so not the biggest amount of composition diversity here on early Kings Row.
Yeah, I do like Adam staying on the Zenyatta, though. It's going to help him try to melt those Winstons when they get a chance, allow him to heal and stay alive in the back lines. It might not be enough actual presence in the fight, though, as EnvyUs is getting a lot of kills with their Reaper play, and they're pushing them all the way back.
Yeah, this is a big, big pushback, and really, this has been the story of the game thus far. I mean, it's just been big pushes by EnvyUs, and they've been winning the, you know, the so-called bumping of the fists between the two teams.
Yeah,
just sort of, they're shooting a little bit better.
Adam's definitely going to be staying on Zenyatta for at least the next life, as he has his ultimate up, and they're going to try to probably push in with Transcendence, and here it comes.
Yep, they're coming in. Transcendence is out, but so is dropping the beat with Lucio sound barriers, and the sound barriers are going to win out, as again, it's going to be 4 people down, 5 people down. A big team wipe coming out again for EnvyUs, so their Kings Row defense is looking super solid right now.
Yeah,
if a little bit, even if a little bit static with 3 total heroes, or 3 specific heroes.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the EnvyUs I remember. They're really just dominating Kings Row, and I don't really know exactly what Google Me is going to do to try to change this. Here comes the Reinhardt, which I think is an interesting.
Oh, here comes Salesman. Look at this beautiful flank. He got in the middle of all of them there. He didn't get all the kills, but he definitely did a lot of damage. Here comes Reaver with the counter, Death Blossom. You know what, Hex? I just keep hearing die, die, die in my head. Is something wrong?
Yeah.
Or is it just that there's 4 Reapers in this game?
Well, we'll talk about it later. Yeah, I mean, both, really. Both is the answer to that. There is something wrong with you, and there are 4 Reapers in this game.
Yep, so...
We do have a switch over. I mean, Reinhardt is coming in instead of a second Winston. For a moment, they toyed with the idea of a Roadhog, but kind of understand that there's not really a ton of great targets for Roadhog either.
They do have a Reinhardt up now, so that is a bit of a change. And again, taking out Coolmat. Coolmat does have Death Blossom out, but he's going to do it into Transcendence. Not really getting the most value. I think everyone got healed up immediately. Sound Barrier is up, and if there's an opportunity coming out for Google Me, this would be it, but I don't know. The sound barriers are out, and they're being very aggressive. Raz picking up a double kill, and Coolmat pushing very deep in.
Yeah, so many shields, and look at the chase, too. The Winston chase has been so real all throughout the day. Another kill on Shore4 right by spawn.
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird. They're basically running almost identical comps, but for one reason or another, EnvyUs is just getting way more mileage out of it. I don't know if it's just they have, like, momentum on their ultimates or what, but I don't really know what you change up here if you are Google Me.
Yeah, you run maybe, I don't know, 6 Reapers. Reaper has his own self-sustain, right?
Yeah, meanwhile, we do have Winston's coming in. All the Winston's probably about to go ape. We do have Shift4 up with the Death Blossom, though. He does take out Raz. Here he comes in with the Death Blossom. He needs to get at least someone else with this. He does get Esper, and this might be what they need.
Yeah, Adam getting in here with the Transcendence, keeping everyone alive. Stoop going for the chase. It's not really going to matter. Tekaside should be able to get away. Stoop is going to have to ultimate just to try to cause some chaos. Cool Matt does come in with his second Death Blossom. Doesn't get a whole lot done, though.
Yeah, he's going to have to Wraith for him here, and he is way outgunned. He's going to die, whether it be to a Winston, another Reaper, or what. He dies to the other Winston, and... it took a while, but Google Me is going to extend out the map after a very... Yeah, I was going to say, maybe.
Yeah.
Because you thought they were ahead of it. It was very close, but suddenly, Raz shows up to add a little bit of extra time to the point, so it might not be over yet.
Yeah, it's that Primal Rage, that sustain on the Primal Rage. Now, this is kind of risky from EnvyUs, though, because if they don't actually hold it, they're going to be in a really bad position to have to defend the next point.
Okay, they got the payload, so... But EnvyUs with a very scary last-second attempt. I mean, for a second, it looked like they might have actually held.
Yeah, now there are 3 dead for EnvyUs, and I imagine they're going to try to pull back pretty far to try to set up a decent defense. What they do have in their favor is that they aren't running the Zenyatta-Genji combination, so right now, Google Me can't push up and really apply a lot of pressure, and they're limited by the slow pace of the payload cart.
And again, even if they were to go all the way to the end on this payload here, really, EnvyUs has bought themselves so much time for their attack round.
Yeah, but at least they did extend the map, and so if they get to the end, they do have a better chance rather than just having to defend the first point beyond being captured. So, a good news for Google.
I'm very confused at that ult coming up from Shift4. I think that might have been he might have hit the key by accident. I don't think that was intended at all.
Yeah, it looked like a misclick Death Blossom. Adam is going
But it's not even mattering because look at this flanking that's going on. They just took out 5 members of EnvyUs, and they're rolling even with the wasted Death Blossom.
Yeah, it was all just mind games. They wasted the Death Blossom so that EnvyUs would think they didn't have a Death Blossom, but oh ho, they had a second Death Blossom.
Yep, so again, double Winston, double Reaper. Being very prominent on both teams. The only different... Wait. Are the teams are identical now. They have a Zenyatta and a Lucio. Both teams are identical.
Yeah, the Discord are so valuable trying to deal with the Winstons, and also it's valuable on these Reapers too, because Reaper's a class you want to Discord just so you can keep eyes on him and where he's going. Even though he can Wraith out of it, it forces him to use the Wraith form to delete it.
So, speaking of Reaper shenanigans, Cool Matt does have his Death Blossom up, and he's going to want to make something here because really, because they died so easily in the second part of the streets, they lost a lot of their time that they got from their great first point defense.
Yeah, I mean, it was a gamble to try. Oh, Tailspin goes off the cliff.
Oh no. So Tailspin going down, that's a very big defender down for EnvyUs. Raz is gonna go down, and this could be the very opportunity that Google Me needs.
Yeah, they're just running their Primal Rages, knocking people off the last point, and both of the Reaper ultimates are up for Google Me.
Oh, Shift4 getting a little bit greedy, went deep into the spawn and was punished severely for it. Tailspin coming back out. Gotta be mad after what just happened here. It does have Death Blossom. He is firing his Hellfire shotguns left, right, and center. Reaper's gonna go down, and yeah, EnvyUs will hold here and buy a bit of time. And now I expect to see Tailspin set up for a Death Blossom in short order.
EnvyUs definitely stabilized. The reason they got pushed back so far is because they tried so hard to defend that first point with everything they had. They weren't in position to really put a good defense down through the alleyways, which is generally where teams get kind of bogged down on this map. They have finally stopped the momentum and push on the last, and maybe they can stabilize here. There's only 2 minutes left for Google Me to get this card to the end.
Yeah, Google Me, I mean, at least they have a little bit of time here. This is a more workable time if they are able to cap it soon. Where they have a decent chance of defending, but Adam is going to use the Transcendence and look at Tailspin. He's still in the backline. He still has Death Blossom, and here it comes right after the Transcendence. Got to take out Adam and severely damage the rest. Cool Matt and Tailspin with the cleanup.
They have to be careful. They don't want to push too far up here. We know what happens when you push too far up.
You don't want to get back toward like what happened to Mix-Up. That much is for sure.
Cool Matt immediately turn back and run to base. They remember what happened to Mix-Up, and they are not going to get back hacked.
Yep, so we see EnvyUs setting up again. They do have good ults up. Minstrel has the sound barrier. Technicide not getting it for a while, so sound barrier alone is going to make this next fight a little bit difficult for Google Me.
I think Google Me should try to be a little bit patient. They should try to get their Winston ultimates up, as those are the ones that are going to really affect the push on the final point.
Minstrel comes out with the sound barrier, and EnvyUs is rushing in off this, but they're being a little bit tentative. When Shift4 comes out with this Death Blossom, doesn't do anything. Tailspin still deep in, is going to pick up the double kill. Cool Matt making it a triple on top of it. And again, Cool Matt and Tailspin sort of regulating, and we're back to sort of what we saw back at point 1, where EnvyUs with a very suffocating form of defense.
Yeah, I mean, the Zenyatta edition on Esper has been absolutely crucial. They're actually discording the opposing Zenyatta because he is the one that's making that team heal and making them all squishy. So Zenyatta has been the prime target regardless of compositions.
Taking a look, Stoop does have his ult up now. He's one of the only people with the ult. Taking a look at Reaper. Reaper is speed boosted. He has his ult. You gotta be thinking he's looking to drop the Q at any moment here. But he doesn't get to drop the Q because Tailspin drops him with a shot to head instead. Esper with the Transcendence, and they just rush in off that. Surefour, though, making a bit of a game of it with some kills in the back.
Surefour got a couple kills. The sound barrier is going to come off Adam at the offensive Transcendence. They're going to try to make a big push out of this. There still is a Death Blossom up for Reaver, but not enough team support around as Tailspin, Coolmat, and Esper all combined for 3 kills on Google Me.
And also, Tailspin and Coolmat both have Death Blossoms, and Reaver just gets taken out immediately by that headshot from Coolmat. And now things are looking very, very grim for Google Me, and EnvyUs will hold and not allow Google Me to complete the map. So good stuff coming out from them. And now the question is, are they going to be more successful on offense than Google Me was just now?
Yeah, I think it is a small victory for Google Me that they were able to actually cap the first point, because now the map can't end with just EnvyUs being able to cap the first point and win. So that was a small victory. They did end up getting the second point, so they made the map much more competitive than it looked for a very long time.
So we are heading now on to side number 2. EnvyUs has definitely created a very favorable situation for themselves. And look at Coolmat with 40 eliminations. That is a lot.
I was going to bring it up. It's not quite 75% kill participation, but it's 74%.
I mean, this is a recurring theme with Coolmat. And I honestly, you look at other Reapers. I've never seen that card on other Reapers. It's certainly not in a comp game.
Yeah, I mean, and part of it might be because of the composition they're running, that he's able to get kind of squishier targets to beat down towards the end and really get participation points. But part of it is that it's just Coolmat. When I grow up, I want to be Coolmat.
So we are going in here. The server is closed due to an unexpected error. Uh-oh. Did you get kicked out, Hex?
Yes, sir. I think we're fine though. We're still in lobby. Someone got booted from team 2.
Yeah, we just can swap sides and go in and obviously not do the other half of King's Row. Uh-oh, failed to connect the server. Yeah, not like this, Overwatch. Not like this.
Well,
man, we've been a little bit cursed by this too, because this happened last night in the middle of the one-hit tournament where the servers just decided to die for a period of about 20 minutes.
They did. Did you catch a time on that?
For the second point, I'm not sure on the second one. We can definitely reference the VOD. I'm not sure if people are logging out or relogging or getting kicked out.
I don't know. I'm still on the server. Stoop is still here. Adam's still here. Of course Adam's still here. Even the server can't kill Adam.
Or the internet itself is dying because Tailspin just went offline on Steam. I don't know what's going on. All right, I'm in a new custom game lobby. Sending out the invites. Because yes, we do need a new lobby. Man, what a game though.
Yeah, Google Me is super impressive. It's going to be fun watching them going forward. EnvyUs still in full form, and just the way the meta has changed is just weird. It's weird. There's a lot of primates.
You never thought you would go this ape on a cast, but yeah, I mean, you look at what happened with what's it called? What we saw in the EU games, and then you compare it to the NA games, and it's almost a completely different meta.
Yeah, they feel very different. I don't know. I guess the NA it feels kind of brash and raw. They are kind of brutal characters. Winston with his primal rage, Reaper just shotguns in your face. So definitely feels a little less finesse, and that kind of fits, I guess, the stereotypes people have for Europe and NA anyway.
Indeed.
I'm surprised I haven't seen Esper on Mercy at all, though. Not a second of it. I mean, I guess they float around enough that they just understand that it's just not where it needs to be right now.
I also thought we'd see a little bit more of Mercy, so... A little bit of weirdness here on the... They're saying people need to restart Overwatch. I don't know what's going on here.
Well, I'll give it a quick restart.
I will also give it a quick restart. So, a little bit of technical difficulties. This is a beta after all. But it's been a very well running beta, and also beta 2, the performance of the game actually just improved a lot, period. I mean, so FPS gamers get very critical about their game's performance, but Overwatch, with a modern rig, will easily hold over 200 FPS forever. And for how good the game looks, that's a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, it's quite the pretty game, quite the polish on it. I don't understand enough about computers to really tell you how the code is working, but I've always been impressed with the net code, how I can play on Europe, and I barely even notice I'm on Europe. So really good design and code in the back end. Congrats to the Overwatch dev team, who probably doesn't get the props that they deserve. Because betas crash, and we all remember when they crash, rather than how good they run the rest of the time.
Honestly, just a thing, really.
So
we are trying to log. I'm trying to log back in. The authentication takes longer than it probably should, but
well, it's probably getting hugged to death right now too.
Yeah, right now I'm just thinking in my head, please no Pluppy, because he missed a tournament game earlier because he was stuck in authenticating for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah, that's right. Pluppy had to get filled in for.
So we have relogged. Hopefully any weirdness that has been going on is stopped.
I think we're going to wait for the other set of casters as well, yes?
Yes. So
Fishsticks and Josh are joining us. They ran, I think, the alt stream today. Of course, I wasn't able to tune in. I'm sure they did a great job. They're doing a ton of content. Fishsticks and Joshy, the other pair, on, I think, probably their individual channels. Yes, Ask Josh.
I believe so. Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
So when you're not watching our brilliant games where we talk about monkeys and puns, then check them out. And or multi-Twitch is also your friend. Watch all the Overwatch in the world, because I don't think we really have a ton coming up in the middle of the week. There might be a tournament tomorrow. Yes.
I believe in terms of happenings in the Overwatch community, there's an ESL Cup tomorrow, but I don't really have any info on that. And it's hard to get info on tournaments in general because, I don't know, just things seem to disappear on community websites. I don't know, because these events are happening, but it's hard to get the info out to people.
Yeah, I mean, for all the benefits of the Overwatch subreddit, the beautiful CSS, I think it could really benefit from maybe an event sidebar, because I track the Overwatch community meticulously, and I still end up missing events. So, I mean, I'm as involved can be, and I still can't find the up-to-date postings. An event sidebar would be sweet. So, Reddit admins, if you're listening, hook us up with that event sidebar. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, that would be great, just so people can actually hear about these events and all the rest. So, right now, we are getting into lobby. We should be good to go in a moment. Luckily, the game disconnected in between maps, so it should be very simple to just put EnvyUs on attack and see what they can do.
Yeah, at least it didn't happen mid-game. Last night it happened mid-game, and we had to go with administration ruling as far as checkpoints go, but I think the game had actually ended. We were just being gracious as far as making sure that everyone had completed the map if they wanted to complete the map. So last night we got things back in good working order. It took us about, I think, 10 or 15 minutes before the servers actually came back up. Luckily, these servers are back up. We have casters in here. We are all good. But yeah, we do kind of need to get a timestamp, I think, on when they got the second point. I think we were hoping Joshy would have it.
The admins will be able to double check on the timestamp. Not a big deal. It is in the VOD. But maybe EnvyUs will make it simple on us and finish out the map outright.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm just never going to talk in chat. Chat always gets clustered. I don't need to chat. All right. You know what's my favorite time of the day? It is downtime day. And just want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Rocket, been there from the beginning. If you need a new keyboard, you need a new mouse, you need a new headset, Rocket has all your gear, all your needs. If it plugs into your computer, Rocket has it. Good products, quality products. They've been with us since the beginning, since we were $120 cup. Please support them and thank them for supporting the Overwatch scene that is in beta. As infantile as we are growing, and growing with the help of Matcherino.com, crowdsourcing, esports stuff. Really interesting platform. Check it out. We've run a couple events with them. We're going to expand our roles with them next week. And of course, DX Racer. You've seen DX Racer chairs. They look really cool. You should definitely buy a DX Racer chair. Also throwing into the prize pool $360 to the winner of each weekly EU and NA that we do Saturdays and Sundays from GosuGamers.net. Whew.
So we are in on the second half of King's Row. This is EnvyUs versus Google Me. For those who are just tuning in, Google Me struck first blood on the first map on Watchpoint Gibraltar, winning in a very, very close finish. And now we are going into the second half of King's Row.
Yeah, excellent. I think we're still looking for times and whatnot. I'm just going to assume that EnvyUs is able to finish this map. I mean, I suppose I shouldn't be assuming anything, considering all my assumptions are always proven wrong.
Assumptions are a very, very deadly thing in Overwatch.
Okay, I guess. Got this big mission coming up. Oh, I get it.
There's a little bit of stuff going on there, but the VOD time is definitely visible on the VOD, so.
I can't wait.
Whatevs. It's not a big deal. It will be handled in any case. So, taking a look here, we do have the defense coming out for the Google Me side. We have Adam on Zenyatta, Reaver on a Reaper, Surefour on a second Reaper, Tekaside on Lucio, Shuanil on Winston, and Kai Kai on Winston. So, a lot of Reapers and Winstons yet again, Hex.
Just as we think the meta is getting stabilized and then stale, though, Cool Matt is going to bust out the offensive Widowmaker.
Yep, so they are not going to run a mirror of what they were doing before. We're getting a little bit of variety here, X, and I'm excited to see what Cool Matt does.
Yeah, the smallest bit of flavor in the variety. It's going to be interesting to see if he can pluck out Adam. That's got to be his prime target. So double Winston, double Reaper getting on that point almost immediately, but a really patient defense coming in from Google Me.
Yeah, but look at Cool Matt. He got one big hit on Lucio. Can he get the other? Technicide going in, and yes, he does take out Kai Kai. So this is looking pretty good for EnvyUs. They've gotten several key picks, and the defense of Google Me is on the run.
Both tanks are down for Google Me. They would be smart to just leave right now, get out of there, maybe throw some spam down there, but Cool Matt is already in the doorway looking for picks. They're smart. They get out with their lives. They lost both tanks, but now they're going to have a formidable defense, at least for second point.
Cool Matt taking out Adam. Cool Matt is very much on point here. Snipes for days, and he's making the offensive Widow work, and really EnvyUs setting a much faster time thus far than Google Me on their first run through.
Yeah, Widowmaker on offense is very strange in this game. You'd think it'd be weak, kind of a niche play, but it's really, really a power play, all about aggression and dictating the pace of your game. She also has ultimate up. That's how much damage she's already done.
Yeah, I mean, her ultimate build's pretty fast in general, but it is interesting. You see way less Widows on defense than you do on offense, even though, in theory, she was supposed to be a defensive hero to begin with. So, and look at this. The Widow sight really shows all the flanks are coming out. Reaper coming in, but no, he misses the snipe. Not typical of Cool Matt. He should have had him set up, and he's just going to have to run away, but he will live for now.
Yeah, Minstrel does take out Reaver during that, and not only did he get the kill, but that also buffed Minstrel's ultimate ability. Sound Barrier is ready, and it's ready to pair with the Death Blossom from Tailspin.
Yeah, and Tailspin does have the Death Blossom ready. Melee's down Shuanyel, and EnvyUs is cutting through this payload map with ease.
They're rolling pretty quick here. Still Cool Matt is on the Widowmaker. That infrared vision, actually, based on the composition that these teams are running, is an invaluable asset to be able to track Reapers.
Yeah. So Zenyatta coming in will drop the Transcendence. Transcendence is out. Barrier is out for EnvyUs, so they don't want to give this up at all. And they're going in. Gorillas are popping Primal Rage everywhere. In comes Reaver with the Death Blossom. That's going to take out two with the help of Kai Kai. Might not be over yet, though. But you know what? I think it's over.
Defense definitely going to be able to hold here. Cool Matt finally off of offensive Widowmaker. He goes on to get none other than another Reaper. So compositions are exactly even again. And that's a pretty important defense there from Google Me. They need to really hold it from getting the second point, as I think even checking map times, they would be getting the second point faster, and that would technically, I think, be the victory for EnvyUs if they get the point.
It absolutely would. Yeah, if they get it anytime soon. I mean, you think about how much they held on point one. If they get on the next push or two, then it wouldn't even be in question. We wouldn't even need to check the VOD.
Right.
Just the looking at it outright would make it pretty apparent. And Stoop got taken out immediately at Discord Orb. Good stuff coming up from there. But here comes EnvyUs pushing very, very deep in.
Yeah, Tailspin trying to get some work done, but Shortfor and Reaver actually trading blows. Cool Matt, Shortfor, just back and forth on the kill feed right now. It's just Reaper on Reaper violence.
It's Reaper on Reaper violence, but the Reapers of Google Me are going to come up supreme, and then they're so close to the second point and taking this map. They need to get in there. They don't want to have to complete the map to win. They still have plenty of time. I think may have as much as like 2 minutes, but they don't want to bring it into any sort of moment of doubt.
Yeah, honestly, for these compositions, though, it's a really great defensive spot to hold because Adam can hide back here in this corner, the secondary corridor. Everyone's got high ground ability to be able to transfer up and dropping these Reapers down. The offensive Transcendence comes in, though.
Yep, offensive Transcendence, but look at Surefour. He's sitting in the back. He has the Dragon Blade, and he is going to come in off his own team's Transcendence. Reaper and Surefour rushing it down. Reaper with a pair of kills. Surefour about to pick up a pair of kills. And EnvyUs getting stuffed here yet again. So Google Me not wanting to go down without a fight.
Yeah, that's a full wipe. At this point, I wonder if EnvyUs is considering changing up classes. It doesn't seem obvious, but I think maybe they might just wait until they all have ultimates ready or something, because going on an even grounds into this position has not worked out for them a couple times in a row now.
Meanwhile, Coolmat does have his Death Blossom out, and really, Ultimate's a bit on the scare side for Google Me here, because look, Lucio is not getting his beat up anytime soon, and here comes Coolmat. He's going to be dropping Death Blossom pretty soon here. Tailspin with the pick off of Kai. This might be what EnvyUs needs. They need to get a kill or two more to really secure this. Tailspin with the double kill. Coolmat's still very deep in. Sound Barrier is out for EnvyUs. It won't be coming out anytime soon for Google Me, and they are just swarming over the point. I'm pretty sure this is going to be GGX, but it's close enough that we will let them play it out.
That was a panic Sound Barrier, though. Tekasai was just in the back lines. He got completely out of position. He was doing it to save his own life, didn't affect any of his teammates, and that's a panic ult that is really going to cost them momentum if they want to try to hold another defense. 2 ultimates up, and it is both the Winstons for EnvyUs.
Yep. So, EnvyUs is going to try and finish this out, but I think it's almost certainly their game. I don't think you saw Google Me get here this fast in the last game.
Doubtful, but I want to see some Primal Rages knock people off cliffs. Don't you dare deny me that.
And, you know, that's a cause I can really get behind. But Tailspin going in deep, picking off Kai very quickly, has the other Reaper in his sights, but he takes a Discord Orb, has to wait for him out, but look at what's happening in the back line. Stupid Minstrel picking up a pair of kills for themselves, and they are just rolling in, Hex.
Yeah, and they're staggering these Primal Rages. It's so smart. Stoop one in, also Primal Rage. Raz is just going to kind of dance around until he feels threatened and has to use his Primal Rage, bump up his health, and try to finish this push.
Yeah, Reaper does. Reaper does have Death Blossom. He needs to get back in here. He can drop it at any point. He might not need to though, as the remainder of the EnvyUs team is going to get pushed out here. But really nice stuff coming from EnvyUs. They can really win if they regroup and have a good push on the next push.
Not to be redundant. They can take it all the way to last here. It was pretty decent defense, though. I thought that was going to be a very easy EnvyUs push at the end, considering the ultimate statuses they had up. But a good rally around the point by Google Me.
Yep, so Google Me, again, most likely EnvyUs has won this off second checkpoint time alone, but EnvyUs wants to take the last point here. Just, I mean, moral authority, if nothing else. Take a look at Reaver. Reaver still has his Death Blossom up. He is measuring them. He is setting them up. He wants to drop down at some point here. He might have missed his opportunity, though, as they all just sort of went past him.
Yeah, so many bubbles on the screen.
Yeah, Surefour and Coolmat trading off kills here. Both teams down a player. Stoop and Coolmat, though, getting kills. Coolmat with the ultimate, and now EnvyUs looking strong as they push the point.
Yeah, Kai's Primal Rage is now worn off. He's merely a mortal gorilla. They're going to be able to push this pretty close to the end.
Google Me's giving another point to stay on this. They are going to be rushing on the point, but really, you take a look at EnvyUs. They are set up. They have the player advantage. They're going to be wiping them out as they come in on the point. The offensive transcendence is there, and EnvyUs about to take the point. And there it is. EnvyUs with the clean win of Kings Row. They have evened up the series 1-1. And as a result, we are guaranteed at least 4 games here today, Hex.
Yeah, they much appreciated for making it simple for us. I'm pretty sure they had that on the second checkpoint, but it's nice and clean getting towards the end there. We saw a couple of Genjis come back into play, so that might be coming back as long as... I think definitely it's going to be Google's flavor to go back to the Genji rather than the double Reaper. It seems that EnvyUs is pretty stuck in their double Reaper, double Winston, double Lucio ways, perhaps mixing a Zenyatta. What an interesting new kind of wrinkle to the meta they've brought, and it seems to be pretty effective against the Genyatta kind of combination that we've seen previous.
Yeah, although, again, EnvyUs did mix up a little bit in the beginning there where they brought out the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
They had a somewhat untraditional comp at the beginning, and it did work. It gave them point A effortlessly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, Widowmaker, it just dictates the pace of the game. It dictates where you can defend. When she gets over to those right sides across from the point, it really just cuts off the angles. It forces Adam into the back left corner. He can't come down to help at all. He can't move to get sight lines where he needs to on his orb. So it really cuts down the impressive play of Adam on his Zenyatta too. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see an offensive Widowmaker in some of our next maps.
Yep. So that being said, this is GosuGamers Overwatch Weekly North American Cup, brought to you by Rocket, Matcherino, and DX Racer. There is no plural. We're going to be taking a very short break before getting to the next draft. Biological concerns are at the something. You know what? I'm just guessing too long. But we'll be right back with map number 3 of EnvyUs versus Google Me. And we are back with the GosuGamers Overwatch Weekly North America. This is the grand finals, EnvyUs versus Google Me, and EnvyUs just struck back Hex, evening up the series 1-1.
Yeah, we're definitely going to a game number 4 at the least. It is generally down to a best of 3 now, so Google Me super impressive today. EnvyUs still one of the kings of the NA scene, hoping to retain their top spot. So we've got a couple of great matches left to figure out who's going to be the champion of GosuGamers NA Weekly.
Yeah, and really, Google Me making a strong case for them, but EnvyUs also really defending their crown here and making a strong showing on Kings Row. And it does look like there was a little bit of drafting going on while we were AFK. So we're going straight to Gibraltar.
Yeah, much to the delight of Twitch chat, we don't have to go take a break and do map bans again, but we're going to Gibraltar, and this has to be the plan for Cool Matt to run an offensive Widowmaker again.
Yep, so we are going to wait 2 minutes here. Esper is in the bathroom. It just might be that time for everyone, I suppose. You have these intense series, and then at some point, you just got to go.
Yeah, nature calls. Nothing much you can do about it. Do you know how many sponsors that we have for this tournament today, though, ZP?
I think you're going to tell me.
Well, I know that from the start we've had Rocket, and I don't know if you know who Rocket is. They make really cool keyboards and mice and headsets and stuff. They're cool. They were always giving us $120. After that, we had talks with Matcherino, who run this really interesting kind of crowdfunding for esports, Matcherino.com. We're going to be doing even more stuff with them in the future. And then, last week we kind of joked about DX Racer becoming a sponsor of ours, and lo and behold, DX Racer joins our sponsor ranks. They're all contributing. We have $360 grand prize in the prize pool. Hopefully that only goes up and expands, but those are our sponsors. Thank you so much for sponsoring the GosuGamers NA Weekly.
So what I'm getting from that is that you should joke about the best sponsors ever beyond the sponsors that we already have, which are already the greatest, to bring in more sponsorships.
Yeah,
just keep doing jokes.
I told you, man, I'm definitely shooting for a Diet Coke sponsor. It is my soft drink of choice. I don't know what's in it. I don't know how it is so crisp and refreshing, but definitely looking for that Coca-Cola Diet Coke sponsorship.
Well, there you go. The drinks of choice coming out for hexagrams. And while we're at it, big shout outs to GosuGamers. GosuGamers, of course, putting on big events like this. And if you go to the website, there's great articles written by people like hexagrams. There's rankings and more. So definitely check out the website, and we will keep you apprised of any events and otherwise that are coming down the pipe in the future. And I would be remiss if I didn't say big shout outs to the admin staff for helping make all this stuff run smoothly in the background. They're the best.
Yeah, I mean, really the heart and soul of GosuGamers is our admins and our coverage team. The reason that everything gets logged into our rankings, logged into our coverage system, why VODs are up, why match results are up, is all the people working 24/7 behind the scenes. Cooter, Broder, so many people I'm probably forgetting, but I'm sure you see them in the Twitch chat. They deserve a big, big thanks as well.
Very, very much so. So we are getting back into game. It looks like the sides have swapped again, where EnvyUs will be the first to defend yet again. This is EnvyUs versus Google Me, map number 3 of the grand finals in a best of 5 series. And our last Gibraltar was just incredibly close, X.
Yeah, it's a map that I think we both thought should favor EnvyUs, and they had a pretty good run at it. But now that EnvyUs is going to be on defense yet again, which is probably why they lost last time. It's going to be interesting to see what they end up pulling out on offense. But for now, their defense is going to look pretty similar to their defense the rest of the games. They're running double Winston, double Reaper, a Lucio, and one Zenyatta.
Yep, they are out there. And now taking a look at the defense for... Wow, actually looking at both teams are incredibly similar. I mean, really the main difference coming out... from the Google Me side, they are running Genji and McCree, so it is a little bit different, more so than it was before, but you still have the same base of 2 Winstons, a Zenyatta, and a Lucio. So really, some very big similarities, regardless of the sort of the switch-ups that get thrown in, but I guess you are seeing a little bit more variation from the attacking teams.
Yeah, I think Reaver, his whole job is going to be try to do some damage from a distance and try to maybe deal with the supports are going to be his top targets overall. And also, McCree is pretty decent at, if he is able to see a Reaper coming in on him, he can win that one-on-one duel.
Yeah, McCree versus Reaver or Reaper or McCree versus Genji, it's all interesting because McCree can win those, but it's a very tricky the way people play it. That makes sense. We have Sureford going in already, takes out Minstrel in short order. Minstrel just getting destroyed, and with that Lucio down, that's going to be the signal to go for Google Me here, and they're looking great to start out this map.
Yeah, Genyatta looking really strong with a couple of really early picks, and now Stoop is in a bad position. Stoop gets taken out by Reaver, and that is a bunch of kills. This is going very poorly for the EnvyUs defense. Shore4 with the kind of cradling arms of that orb is pushing so far forward with Schurenhall, and this is one of the problems with Gibraltar. They have to come through these doors when they respawn, but they have the aggressive loadout to be able to actually punish them when they try to come through these doors. Look how hesitant EnvyUs is to even come out and fight.
I mean, EnvyUs is coming back over here, but really, I mean, they're a little bit hesitant to go here, but we do see teams sort of defend at this back point anyway, so it's not that unprecedented. That being said, taking a look at Reaper. Reaper laying down a lot of McCree fire here, has Lucio in sights, but no, Minstrel punches him in the mouth. So Minstrel getting in and doing some serious work, and here comes EnvyUs back on the offense while defending.
Yeah, but a couple really good picks right now, and Google Me has the advantage. Shore4 gets in there and finishes off Cool Matt. I don't think that EnvyUs is going to be able to defend, and I don't think they should. But again, this Shore4 and Adam combination, the Zenyatta and Genji, allows them so much pressure. He's so far forward, able to see where the other team is, gather that crucial information, and he might be able to go in. Raz, however, has other ideas about who's going to be able to control the top of this shuttle.
Yeah, taking a look here, we do have Shore4 now. He has the Dragon Blade ready. He is sort of trying to set things up. He's not quite in the best position, but really, it doesn't matter. Genji can poke in from really far away, and then once people are distracted, bam, he goes in, drops the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, I think
speaking of, there it is. But he's going to get nullified by the Transcendence. The Transcendence, one of the better counters to it, and Raz just sends electricity at him, and that's it. So Shore4 not getting the most value there.
Yeah, going kind of back and forth, though. Tekaside able to take out Cool Matt, one of the few kills he's been able to get. He is a primary target. Esper takes out Reaver as well.
Yeah, we see now looking at Tailspin. Tailspin does have Death Blossom up. Cool Matt has Death Blossom out, so really a lot of ultimates used on the attack here, but many still remaining on the defense, including two very, very key Death Blossoms.
Yeah, Google Me in a lot of trouble right now. Adam's going to try to get out just to maybe regroup with his team and try to put in a decent push, but they're going to have a lot of difficulty taking this hangar area with every single ultimate up except for Esper's on EnvyUs' side. And this is one of those parts where if your momentum stalls on Gibraltar, it's really hard to get back through here. You only have these 4 choke points to come in through, and you have to fight against a team with mostly their ultimates ready.
Yeah, and take a look. Cool Matt is taking the high ground, Tailspin low ground. Cool Matt probably going to be the first Death Blossom to come out here as he drops down, but it doesn't matter. They're all chasing in. We do have a sound barrier coming out, though, from Google Me. It doesn't matter. Cool Matt doesn't care. He's going to drop the Death Blossom anyways, but he's being the wrong end of a Roadhog.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a nice sound barrier by Technicide. He got in a perfect position so that Shore4 was also included in the sound barrier, but it just simply wasn't enough. There were too many damage ultimates up for EnvyUs, and they shut down that push immediately. And they still have both their Winston ultimates up. The Roadhog comes in, though. It's a really interesting pick.
Yeah, and we just see a little bit of cleanup there. They were actually, I think Google Me was a little bit staggered, more so than they were expecting there. They left 2 or 3 people up there while they had 2 or 3 dead, and I think that was a bit of a mistake on their part.
Yeah, they might actually just start pushing in and start spawn camping here. If they see a good window to do it with both of their Winston ultimates up, they could possibly do it. However, it leaves them open to being wiped and then losing all of the good defensive positioning that they've gained so far.
Yeah, and also talking about defensive ultimate positioning, Esper does have Transcendence, and here comes Transcendence right now, and that's going to give, again, a little bit of opening to go for it, but they don't get the most value out of it, and here comes Google Me. So I think there's a little bit of a miscommunication there because Google Me's coming in. They've taken out 4 people, and they are not stopping.
Yeah, that's 5. Kai started wrecking people with his Roadhog, and then Shore4 with his Genji does what he always does and cleans up the rest of the mess. And now Shore4 and Reaver are going to go as far forward as possible, try to scout out where the enemy team's coming from. Reaver has eyes on them. He knows they're going to try to come top left, and EnvyUs might not even try to push back in. They might concede this point.
Yeah, very, very likely here. And we see Cool Matt coming in. Cool Matt dropping out, gets the double kill, picks up a triple, and Reaver says, I can do that too, but no, Reaver, you can't. He just gets shot in the head and goes down very quickly.
Yeah, apparently I'm a coward, and Concession was only on my mind and not on EnvyUs. As they boost in, get a Death Blossom off, and they are hell-bent on stopping them from taking the second point.
So they might not have Death. Let's see where they are on their ults. Tailspin getting closer to Death Blossom. Tailspin or Cool Matt not getting a while, but Minstrel at the sound barrier really will be able to provide a bit of counter pushing for them. as Google Meet tries to get to the payload again.
Yeah, right now I think Google Me should probably try to take it a little bit slow, maybe charge up, get an ultimate or two. Now that they have Sound Barrier, they might decide that they want to do a little more aggressive push.
Yeah. Minstrel drops the beat, and again, here comes EnvyUs. Speed boost is on after both Reavers charging directly in. Stoop and Raz getting the cleanup kills. And again, Sound Barrier just so effective at letting teams be aggressive and do crazy stuff like this as Coolmat picks up the triple.
Yeah, an amazing play from Coolmat, and Technicide a little bit late on his defensive Sound Barrier. It's such a fine line to balance. He wants to be able to cast it later so that his team has the advantage longer. However, his delay on the cast cost his team 2 lives before they even were able to re-engage that fight. So a little bit of greed on Technicide's part, trying to save the ultimate for a more fortuitous outcome, ended up costing them 2 lives early in that fight.
And take a look at Tailspin. Tailspin is on top here. He's looking at the other team. He's sneaking, waiting for his position, and he wants to drop down and drop another Death Blossom. Speed boost is up. He is just going the normal shoot Winston here. Not using it just yet. There's Transcendence up. There's Barriers up. He's going to wait, but it's coming out soon, and there it is. The Death Blossom comes out with the aid of Coolmat, and they again, Tailspin with the double, Coolmat with the triple, and they are rushing them down and fully wiping the Google Meet team.
You know, this double Winston composition has to just be a direct response to the Zenyatta composition that we saw coming out last week. Even though EnvyUs didn't play last week, I'm sure they noticed. There's been a Zenyatta and Transcendence been used so much more than the previous Phase 1 of Beta. And what you saw there is that Winston's ultimate, when charged up, is able to completely remove a Transcendent Zenyatta from the fight, making his ultimate utterly useless.
Okay, we do have a Sound Barrier coming out for the offense of Google Me, but Technicide getting pushed a little bit far back. And again, Coolmat and Tailspin really doing a lot of bullying here, but it's not over yet. The pair kills coming up for Google Me. People on both sides are dropping, but again, look at Tailspin and Coolmat. They're being the Bash Brothers yet again with a combined 5 kills, and that's effectively been the story of the last few minutes of this game, Hex.
Yeah, Adam getting a little bit restless, pushing in way too far ahead, definitely against his MO. He got picked off early in that fight, was unable to contribute more discord and healing, and I think they need to maybe switch up what they're doing here, because what they're doing is not working, and they only have a minute and a half to get this next point.
So checking out the ults here, I do believe they're going to be actually neither team really all that good on ults. People aren't really getting them up too soon. I guess Shunhail is going to have Primal Rage up, but that's not really the biggest of let's go ults. And take a look at Tailspin. Tailspin deep in, takes out Shunhail. Surefour punishes Tailspin, but is immediately punished by Matt, and Matt is a beast right now, picking up a double kill, picking up another triple. I feel like every 2 seconds, like, hey, cool Matt with the triple kill, but it keeps happening.
Yeah, he's definitely putting together a highlight reel round. His name has been on the left side of that kill feed most of the round. Esper showing that he doesn't really need a Mercy to be successful. He's still just got the great battlefield sense. Almost everyone dying on Google Me has been discorded right before their death. His participation in kills is off the charts.
Yeah, they're doing really, really well right now. And take a look at Reaver. Reaver, he does have his Death Blossom up, and he really needs to make something happen now, or they're going to get stuck in this hangar. Coolmat, though, picking up Kai. That's 1 tank down for Google Me. They can't really give this up. They don't have the time. They need to go back in, but the Lucio Barrier is forcing them back.
Yeah, the Lucio Barrier really well timed on the defensive front. Reaver is getting some kills, though. Stoop able to force the Transcendence out of Adam.
Yep, we do have Surefour in the back. He forces out the Transcendence, but that's kind of bad in the sense that he can't really do anything. He would have rather have just gotten the Zenyatta kill.
Yeah, Adam again in trouble. Stoop all over him. Adam dying more this game than he has in the entire day so far.
Yeah, this has not been the best of games for Adam. We do see the Dragon Blade coming out for Surefour. The last gasp, sword action coming out, but no, he's killed by Coolmat. Were you about to say Coolmat gets a triple? Because that's 1, and he is still firing.
Well, Tailspin takes away some of the glory from him. Another Reaper kill. Coolmat does add in a second after Stoop gets a kill, but man,
wow,
what a defense on EnvyUs. They only give up the first point. They were getting rolled to that first point, too. It was a very aggressive offense, got through very quickly, and I thought Google Me was going to be able to rock through that game, but they mounted a very strong hangar defense.
I mean, really, right now, even if they end up winning the series, I gotta think that Google Me is gonna be seeing White Cloaked Reapers in their nightmares tonight, because what a tag team combo between Tailspin and Coolmat.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that I think they should have tried to switch it up. They did the exact same thing about 5 times in a row. They had some success earlier running a Roadhog. I even liked when they were on top of the shuttle. I don't know why they abandoned that path. They were on the top of the shuttle. They had one of their Death Blossoms up. They had Surefour up there with a Genji Orb on them. They could have dropped down over the edge of the tunnel and come in from behind. Granted, it might not have worked, but what they were doing didn't work anyway. So I would have liked to see them continue a divergence of plans to try something else, because what they were doing didn't work for 5 minutes straight. And as a result, result, they were unable to capture the second point.
Can we just point out that Cool Matt, that wasn't 29 eliminations, that was a 29-player kill streak. He was not dying in that game, ever.
No, and Adam got out of position a couple times. The Transcendences were often used in retreat. Even Technocide had a couple just kind of flubs, just holding that sound barrier a little too long, ended up killing a couple players on his squad. I don't think anyone on Google Meet would say that they just had their best game.
Definitely not, but now they have the opportunity to turn the tables on EnvyUs for this next map. Maybe they can stall them in the hangar as well. It's like, hey, you guys had that good defense? We're going to do the same thing back to you.
Very possible. It's kind of going to depend on the momentum that Cool Matt gets with these picks. If the Reaper starts getting picks and they're able to reinforce those picks by pushing their Winstons forward and then allowing Reaper to set up new vantage points, if they can get to just under this arch around the second point where they're looking at these doors where the spawns are coming through while the card is still pushing, I think their momentum is going to carry them all the way to the end.
Yeah, and again, we're taking a look at this here. Cool Matt will be running the Widowmaker. We saw him use it to very great effect earlier in the day. I mean, look at what happened on King's Row, where they took King's Row basically for free off his picks. He is very, very good at that. And we're seeing a more, I mean, effectively, I think we're seeing EnvyUs' defense lineup coming out from Google Me here.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty similar. Both these teams have run very similar compositions. Google Me, they didn't really run this composition yesterday. This wasn't really what they wanted to run, but I guess they're kind of adapting to it, and it's kind of speaks to the way EnvyUs is forcing Google Me to play in a position that they might not be comfortable with.
Yep, so 10 seconds and the starting bell will be off. Will EnvyUs be able to get through the Hangar of Doom? We're going to find out starting in 5 seconds.
Yeah, we're going to watch Cool Matt first, though. Cool Matt on the offensive Widowmaker has kind of made his bones on offensive Widow lately.
Is it wrong that I hope they buff Mei so Cool Matt can play Mei? Can we really make all sorts of ice jokes?
I mean, you had me till the ice jokes.
Oh, Cool Matt getting shots on Zenyatta, but not able to finish him off. That would have been a really, really big deal because the orb is healing many people on the Google Me side. Yeah. So
Short and Reaver killing everyone except for Cool Matt. They're kind of just ignoring him. They don't care. They're cleared up the whole ground. No one died to Cool Matt. Now he's just alone as Widow up top.
Widowmaker is now Widow. I'm not really sure, but he is going to switch off and go Reaper. The picks were not what he wanted, and what just happened there is that he got hits, but he didn't get headshots, and you need to get headshots to finish people off as Widow.
So they do switch off. They go to the double Reaper. Both teams running the exact same composition now, but Google Me looking for a huge flank on the backside. They drop in.
Yeah, Reaver is able to go in and take out Esper. So, you know, we had shut down defense from EnvyUs in the hangar. Google Me saying, you're going to defend in the hangar. We're going to defend you right by your spawn point.
Yeah, that looked pretty brutal. Short actually forced into a Death Blossom to try to get out of it. He gets one kill in Tailspin. Both teams bleeding up players right now, but it looks like EnvyUs got the better numbers advantage of that. Raz is going in to chase Adam. Adam in trouble. Adam has been discorded almost the entire match.
You know, I think it's just because he doesn't have a running animation, but you see Zenyatta floating away. It doesn't look very swift. It's just sort of like, I can catch that.
Right.
But EnvyUs does get out of their spawn. They do get a decent bit of pushing here. Now their next challenge is, can they start the hangar phase of the game?
Yeah, Adam has to be even more careful than he generally is with the Discord Orb on him. His soft breeze will kill him.
But he does have Transcendence. He goes in, drops the Transcendence, and here comes Google Me. They want to dive in on this, but they've yet to get killed. They're sort of getting neutralized by the sound barrier, and this is not guaranteed to be a good fight for them. In fact, they are getting pushed back.
Yeah, Esper showing his patented patience and support play, waiting so long before he casts that Transcendence that turns the tide of the fight. EnvyUs is going to be able to clean this up. 4 dead for Google Me. Esper, it doesn't matter if he's on Mercy. It doesn't matter if he is on Zenyatta. He's going to be the most patient support player in the entire Overwatch scene.
Yeah, and Adam's going to finally get taken out towards the end. Adam staying alive for a long time. Unfortunately, the rest of his team died, and the hangar phase has opened, and I'm not sure if that's faster.
Stoop.
Where's Stoop?
Stoop pushed all the way into the hangar, ran Primal Rage, and just knocked everyone back. It doesn't even allow Google Me to get a good defensive position now. Short was trying to set up defense. Another monkey came in. Cool Matt's on top of the shuttle right now.
You know what, Hex? Space created. That's all Stoop's saying. We are looking at Raz here. Raz also trying to make some space, and the payload is moving. They do have 3 people on it. That is the maximum pushing power on the payload. And really, they just need to get a little bit further. I'm not actually sure they got the second capture point faster than, what's it called, than Google Me did. It's not entirely clear, but that might not matter if they get through the air. Tailspin gets a quick pick on Chuanyel. We see Raz going in, and where is Cool Matt in all this? Cool Matt coming in, does not have his ult just yet. Surefour, though, does. Surefour and Reaver getting big double kills together, but Esper able to take out Reaver, and EnvyUs is not out of this yet.
Again, look how much later Esper's Transcendence comes off, and it's not that his team, you know, they didn't need it exactly when after he didn't pop it. He's just so patient on all of his support play. Adam and Kiki, though, now trying to equalize things, get a couple kills for Google Me.
Yeah, Komat does have his ultimate now, but he is going to save it because he has just been taken out by Winston.
So a decent defense. It kind of stemmed the momentum, at least, that EnvyUs had. Oh, the sound barrier is going to come down. Tailspin trying to get in here.
I think the sound barrier might have been a little bit premature. They weren't really going that heavily in there to begin with, and they might regret this because, let's see, where's Minstrel at? Minstrel going to have sound barrier up very, very soon. He's 15% away. If EnvyUs can group up, do a sound barrier, this is going to be very, very good for them. They will have to deal with the defensive Transcendence, though.
No, I imagine they're waiting for the sound barrier. It comes up right now. Both Death Blossoms up. We're going to see the boost sound barrier Death Blossom combination.
It's going to be rough, though, because Transcendence is up right now. They need to bait that out before they drop Death Blossoms.
Yeah, you could send one Reaper in now to try to bait out that Transcendence early and then actually hesitate on the push. Sound barrier does come in, though.
Sound barrier comes in, and look, Google Me is running away. They know they want to go engage this in the Transcendence. We still have Death Blossoms going out. Raz and Tailspin pick up kills each. Surefour, though, evening it up a little bit. Cool Matt is down. Both teams really fighting it out here. But it's looking like EnvyUs is going to slowly turn this in their favor. Minstrel with the kill in the end. Tailspin, Snoop with kills. And EnvyUs slowly gaining control of the payload.
Yeah, Schoenhill doing the best he can. Reaver actually in a pretty decent position to do some damage. Technide in no man's land. I have no idea why he's back there. He's trying to support Reaver as best he can. Reaver is a lost cause. Get out of there. Adam is just trying to slow the cart down. Actually, they have to sell out. If they lose this cap, they lose the map.
Yeah, if they lose the cap, it's GG. This is GG for EnvyUs, and they will go up 2-1 if they get this. Tailspin dropping the Death Blossom. They're so close, but there's so many monkeys on top of the payload right now.
Schoenhill comes in desperation attempt to do it. Reaver's there as well.
Cool Matt nowhere nearby. They're out of Reapers on top of the point. They're not out of Reavers because Reaver himself is on top of it. And Minstrel gonna have to run for his life as he's taking up a combination of Adam and Reaver. And they're so close, and yet the payload is moving back a little bit.
This is an absolute bloodbath. This is also one of the benefits of the Winstons in the meta. Winston is such a hard hero to kill. He's got decent mobility for the tank. He can stall out pushes like this for so long. Cool Matt is in trouble on the cart.
He has two Winstons chasing after him. He gets punched and jumped on at the same time. So, wow, EnvyUs so close to winning the map there, but a very desperate but awesome hold coming out from Google Me.
Yeah, some great selling out there. I was telling Adam to get out, and I completely forgot that if they cap this point, it's over. Adam sold out on the cart and actually prevented the cap. Good for Adam.
Minstrel has sound barrier coming up no time soon. Looking at Esper. Esper does have the offensive Transcendence, so I think they're going to use this here to try and get in. There's no Transcendence or sound barrier in the other team. Their opportunity has to be now, and here comes the Transcendence, and here they go.
And Short4 comes in from behind. Both Transcendences duel in the middle, and it's just going to be a bloodbath when these things end.
Oh, and then Reaver drops the Death Blossom at the end in a system with Surefour. They are going to be their own version of the Bash Brothers.
Taking full wipe.
Yep.
Oh my god, what is happening? And now Google Me is going to have probably the ultimate advantage. They're at least going to have Primal Rages up. What I thought EnvyUs should maybe do there is wait for their Primal Rage ultimates. Those are the ones that make space. Those are ones that allow you to finish cart pushes. They went in a little early just trying to get the kill ultimates done.
The cart's just continually pushing back right now, and that's a lot of space that EnvyUs needs to make up.
Yeah, the cart is quite slow moving. They've come from the cusp of victory to being completely unable to make any progress right now. But both
they still have 2 minutes. They are going in. They're not going to have sound barrier up anytime soon, but it might not matter. Stoop getting a kill. Surefour evening it up 1-1 right now. The Zenyatta is down though, so that's a lot of healing not being sent to EnvyUs at the moment.
Yeah,
oh, there comes the sound barrier. Minstrel gets it up in time. Tailspin with the double kill. Stoop with the kill. And now EnvyUs again looking very threatening to win this map. And what a headshot from Cool Matt on the Reaver.
That's 4 kills.
And there it is.
GG. On the
GG.
point. That is game.
What a play. So finally, EnvyUs able to push in. They got a point that they weren't able to get. I feel like someone should tell them that it's game, but they want to keep going. I mean, why not? And here they go. Surefour says GG. So
So that is EnvyUs taking map 2 on the second go around on Gibraltar. EnvyUs now leads Google Me and our GosuGamers NA Weekly Finals 2-1.
Really EnvyUs showing a bit more mastery on Gibraltar this time around, but they lost it the first time around by it was, I think in the end it was something like 10 to 15 seconds. So
yeah, it was a very close first match. What do you want to bet is the play of the game? Do you think it's a Reaper?
I don't see how it's not a Reaper, but I don't know. Maybe it's a Winston. I would love to be wrong and have it be a Winston. Or a Lucio even. Every now and then Minster will sort of sneak in there with his hyper-aggressive Lucio play, but I don't know if this is the game for that. Probably cool, Matt. Or Reaver. There it is, Reaver. No, I mean, Reaver I figured had a good chance because of one of the plays he had there, so. I named it before he showed up.
I'll give you credit. Good job.
Definitely a nice play coming out from Reaver. I mean, in a game of Death Blossoms everywhere, having the best Death Blossom has to count for something.
Yeah, I mean, especially among the players he was competing with. Esper, again, with just some huge Transcendence numbers. Esper really, I think that was his game that really stood out to me, that showed that he just understands how support is played. He is patient. He has his positioning down pat. The way he used those Transcendences only when they needed to be used, not in panic mode, not just because the other Transcendence was going off, but when they were going to get the most value out of him, was really impressive. It's reminiscent of his Mercy play, how he used to resurrect 4 or 5 players. He's actually transitioned that exact same style of play into the Zenyatta, who is more popular in the meta, and it was really impressive play. I'm really happy to see Esper still performing as one of the top supports.
Yeah, I mean, there was plenty of times there where he held on to Transcendence just long enough to turn the fight, because while both Transcendences are up, no one is really doing anything. But the team that has Transcendence up while the other Transcendence is down, they're going to do something. So it does pay the weight on your Transcendence.
Yeah, and we saw the flip side of that with Technicide trying to be greedy with his sound barrier, and he was just a little bit too greedy in that split second, ended up costing them 2 deaths, which was kind of stalled out their push when they were on offense. So it's such a fine line of supports. I'm not to single out Technicide, he had some great plays that game too, but just the milliseconds of being able to cast instantly and being able to get those casts off, holding it so you have this small advantage, it's such a balancing act, and Esper's one of the best at it.
Yeah, I mean, it was great play coming from Esper, but let's give props where props are due as well. Adam has played a really great Zenyatta today. Also, he's been in the back. He has gotten picked off a little bit more in the EnvyUs series compared to before, but he's done a good job just in general.
Yeah, I mean, I always like to highlight the supports in this game. I think supports are dictating the rhythm of Overwatch. We see the Winstons too. I mean, just how the game works in concert, you can't ignore how well the supports are playing. So
Hex, teams want to fly through this, and we are already loading the next segment of Overwatch Draft. So, Envy immediately taking out King of the Hill. They don't want to go there at all. It's gone.
Yeah, EnvyUs' first 2 bans are Nepal and Lijiang Tower. Google, of course, follows it up with King's Row. Apparently, they don't like giving EnvyUs that choice of map, and they also don't want to go back to Gibraltar. So I think that means we're going to be seeing a new map.
It's very, very likely, if not guaranteed.
So we've had 3 games, 2 on Gibraltar, 1 on King's Row.
So yes, no more Gibraltar, no more King's Row. By process of elimination, our powers combined, we will have a brand new map.
I love all of these last maps left
game
too.
number 4.
Dorado, Hollywood, Numbani. I mean, EnvyUs is great on Numbani. We don't really know Google's history on some of these maps, but I will watch the heck out of any one of these maps.
I personally think if you're Google, you angle for Hollywood here. I think that might be Envy's weaker maps of the maps that are remaining. Dorado and Numbani are both really, really good maps. Probably Numbani a little bit more so. And they take out Dorado, so I think Envy's going to take out Hollywood, and we're going to be going to Numbani.
Yeah, Envy has been favoring Numbani. We saw them earlier today on Numbani make their glorious return, and it's one of the maps that they just have a really comfortable strategy on.
Yep, and as prophesized, Numbani is going to be the map for game number 4. Wow.
Well, EnvyUs on their home turf. EnvyUs up 2-1 now in the series, and they get to go to Numbani to try to close it out to re-solidify their hold as the best team in North American Overwatch, if not Overwatch in general. Of course, some European teams have something to say about that, but we'll see when we start doing more cross-region tournaments.
Well, EnvyUs putting on a really good showing today, and they are now on match point. Should they take it home on Numbani, they will win the GosuGamers Overwatch Weekly for North America. They will bring home the $360 and have the adulation of the fans and the sponsors as well. And speaking of those sponsors, big shout outs to Rocket for sponsoring all these GosuGamer events, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, and more. They've been a huge ally of GosuGamers. Big shout out to them. Definitely look to them if you need a new mouse or other type of peripheral. Shout out to Matt Chirino. They're going to help with great crowdsourcing things in the future and really help bring these tournaments to the next level in terms of prize money and all the rest. And DX Racer, the chairs they make, there's some really good chairs, X.
Yeah, I look forward to sitting in a DX Racer chair one day while typing on my Rocket keyboard and browsing GosuGamers.com, maybe checking out the new tournaments on MatchReno.com. But how good does War Legend look now based on how well they played against EnvyUs? EnvyUs is still top-end EnvyUs. War Legend played them pretty well for a team we hadn't heard of, too. So, I mean, the results of these tournaments kind of reverberate backwards, and you see some of the teams that maybe you don't get to watch all the way through tournaments, but they're still teams to look out for.
I think it reflects pretty well on War Legend. I mean, right now, based on what I saw, I don't think they would beat either Mixup or Google Me, but they would beat a lot of teams that are under those two teams.
Right.
That's sort of how I feel.
All right. So, EnvyUs, Numbani, it is definitely their home turf. I think Google has their work cut out for him here. We'll see though. It is actually the map that debuted the Genji Zenyatta strategy. So we first saw it. I think Soup Base was running it, and I think Team Vile. I'm probably confused.
He was Patient Zero.
Yeah, and so they were running it, and they just destroyed on Numbani with Genji Zenyatta, and it was the first time we've seen it, and since then it's become a staple of the meta. They got all the way back to the other team's spawn with a Tracer and a Genji and just never let them leave.
Speaking of Supace, I wonder what he's doing nowadays. Was he on any of the teams today, or is he sort of just
I don't know if he was on
the
a team
shadows
today. I think I know there was a split between a couple teams. They went out to form a few different teams. I know Renbot was involved in that certain group somewhere or another. I'd have to look it up specifically, but I'd be surprised if he is without team entirely.
Yeah, I mean, we do sort of have this musical chairs with team rosters going on. I mean, you see this very often in esports where if your team isn't in the top 3 or 4, the teams below that are always constantly remaking themselves to try and get better and get into the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, a lot of roster shuffling going on, even amongst the top teams. I mean, we've seen a switch out on EnvyUs. They had a roster that dominated the scene, and they still swapped out their tank. Of course, you know, it can have for a multitude of different reasons. It's not exactly talent level. Not Enigma decided to become Team Mixup, and they lost several other players, and they have not performed as well as they did as Not Enigma, that's for sure. If they had the Not Enigma roster, I think they might be in the finals now, but they lost some very talented players, of course, auditioning Pluppy. Eccentric won one of our tournaments in dominating fashion, and they might not even be a team next week. So all very nebulous right now. Try to track the players, track the teams, but the scene is evolving at a rapid rate, and I'm just glad to be witness of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting, and where the scene's going to go, who only knows? I think we will see certain teams stay at the top for a while, but we're going to be seeing these new challengers come in week after week. Certainly, more teams are being made, more people are getting into the beta, and the future of Overwatch competition, to me, feels very bright. I mean, I'm biased. I want to believe that no matter what, but I don't feel like I'm being biased when I say that.
No, I mean, we've watched so much Overwatch lately, and I think that the meta evolving and that the teams overall, the talent level has been getting higher and higher every week.
Absolutely. I mean, and even looking at this here, I mean, EnvyUs has shown us some really good stuff, but look at Google Me effectively coming out of nowhere. I mean, we've noticed a lot of their members from playing well in high-level pubs and all the rest, but they've put together a very formidable team that has been giving EnvyUs a run for the money and knocked out Mixup. Of course, Mixup, one of the favorites of the people, as that is Seagull's team.
Yeah, and then even just watching our game on tournament this morning of a bunch of teams that we'd kind of heard of but weren't really sure of, just watching the European scene evolve, SG1, G2, Flat Earth, just so many teams coming kind of out of obscurity and making their mark on the scene. It's just so much going on in Overwatch right now. If you can't tune in with us for every broadcast, well, I guess clear your weekends. We've been casting for about 24 hours straight now. But check out all the VODs on GosuGamers.net. That's really a testament to our coverage team who enters all of this stuff into our database and everything. Anything you want to check up on, go ahead and do that at GosuGamers.net.
I'll be honest, I only got about maybe 3 to 4 hours of sleep going into this, which is pretty crazy, but there's just so much production stuff and other things to take care of in the background. So I'm super energetic because I know this is one of the best series, if not the best series we've had all weekend. Yeah. I'm getting that burst of adrenaline, but man, I'm going to crash after this.
You're a champion. We appreciate everything you do for us, ZP. You're the hero that Overwatch needs. But yeah, we
So-
casted yesterday EU, and just so everyone knows, every Saturday we cast EU, every Sunday we cast NA. If anything else comes up, me and ZP try to cast it as well. We did One Hit Club last night. We did Game On this morning. So Overwatch all day, every day. Numbani though, match point for EnvyUs in the finals of NA Weekly GosuGamers.
Yeah, and this is definitely coming out like this, and looking at the defense coming out for EnvyUs, we got Cool Matt on the Reaper yet again. 2 monkeys and Raz and Stoop. Tailspin on the Pharah, Minstrel on Lucio, and Esper on Zenyatta, so not a whole lot of changes here.
So yeah, a little bit of a switch up though. We do get to see Tailspin on his Pharah, so that is nice. The lineup for Google Me looks very similar to what they generally run, except Reaver is going to be running a Widowmaker.
Yep, the Widowmaker is coming out. And let's take a look at Reaver. I mean, we have normally associated this with Cool Matt, so interesting setup here with both Genji and Widow. I don't think I've seen this particular combination today.
Esper hiding way back in the corner.
Well, of course, I mean, that'd be sneaky as Zenyatta.
And now, especially that they know there might be a Widowmaker out there, Reaver is down by the bus looking for shots, looking for that Zenyatta to poke his head out.
Yeah, he's being very patient, but oh, he gets Pharah 1 shot, 1 kill, and that is a huge pickoff because Tailspin is very, very key to this defense. And he gets Cool Matt. Wow, that 2 enormously huge pickoffs from Reaver.
Yeah, that actually worked really well in conjunction with Shore4, who was up there trying to clear it out. It actually forced Esper out of his nook and to fall back very far. Now only Esper and Minstrel trying to clean up, and they went too far around the corner. They got picked off immediately.
Yeah, I mean, that could not have gone any better for Google Me there. That was picture perfect. Just phenomenal shots coming out from Reaver, taking out the 2 biggest damage threats on the EnvyUs team. Just great Widowmaker play.
Uncharacteristic bad judgment from both Esper and Minstrel coming around that corner. What is Minstrel really going to do with the help of Esper? Just them 2 trying to come around against a full team. They're both supports. Both are very good at it, but they're not going to clear out a full team, and both paid for their lives. Now they don't have a very good defensive position for the second point.
No, I mean, they're coming back out. I think they're going to be able to reestablish here, but look at Shore4. Shore4 is setting up. He knows that they're over there, and he is just waiting for a Dragon Blade. He would be poking if he was going for anything else right now. He wants his team to go up, and he might do a little bit of poke, but I think a Dragon Blade is imminent.
They definitely charged their ultimates much faster there because the kills were so lopsided in favor.
He just effortlessly takes out Esper. Here comes the Dragon Blade for the extra cleanup. Reaver takes out Stoop, and this is not looking good for EnvyUs.
No, that kill feed is very one-sided. Reaver getting a bunch of kills. Kai doing his own as well, knocking away the Winston. This car is going to be moving very fast. Let's see if they post up offensively and send Shore4 to the front. There he goes.
Shore4 is going to the front, and man, this is a great time being set to the second checkpoint. If they get this here, even if they don't finish the map, I gotta think that it's gonna be down to EnvyUs to have to complete the map in full.
Shore4 is hiding. Tailspin kind of sniffed him out, knew what was happening. A good game sense by Tailspin there.
Yep, we do have some ults coming up for EnvyUs, so I think they're gonna be able to stem the tide a little bit, but man, what a phenomenal opening coming out from Google Me.
Yeah, really good first 2-point capture time.
Yep, they're going in right now. We see Cool Matt. He does have the Death Blossom up, but he's not going to use it. He's actually just going to wait for him to back out. I don't think he liked the way that was looking, and they're just going to back out just a bit. And he kills himself from Shore4. Nice reflect coming out from Shore4 there.
Some pretty good patience, though. We'll see if this High Noon comes down and actually does some damage. The teams are both bleeding players a little bit. Defensive ultimates are kind of lacking right now. The offensive sound barrier is up, though.
Yeah, and look at Cool Matt. Cool Matt is coming out the Death Blossom, but look at just the raw speed coming out right now
Reaver's
from
Google
Me. This is insane.
Reaver's gonna Deadeye.
Very well might, but hang on. Here comes Cool Matt. Cool Matt dropping the Death Blossom. A triple kill and then some coming out. So Reaper's doing some work, but man, Google Me has to feel pretty happy about where they're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought Reaver had his ultimate up, as did Tech aside. They could have sound barriered. The entire team wasn't there, but Reaver running his Deadeye would have at least made them hesitate to come out to the cart and would have bought them time and space, if not kills.
So, you see EnvyUs really reestablishing here, but man, they have got to be a little bit shell-shocked at just how much progress is made in such a short amount of time coming out from the offense of Google Me.
Yeah, and it's their map, too. I mean, Numbani and EnvyUs go hand in hand, so gotta be surprised that they're not able to hold more defensively.
We do see Tailspin coming in, Death Blossom with Cool Matt. That's gonna be 3 wiped out, and Shore4 is just like, hey, where is my team? and he's just gonna have to sit back and wait for everyone to respawn because they do not want to go in 3v6.
Right, but they do now have the advantage in ultimates. Adam's Transcendence is up. Shore4 has Dragon Blade. Reaver still has that Deadeye that he didn't use earlier. Tekaside with Sound Barrier. They have all the ingredients for a really strong push here.
They are looking really, really good here. The ultimates are up, and as you say, the ingredients are set. All they have to do is cook. Here comes Shore4, though. I don't think he wants to run the Winston quite like that. He wants to get a somewhat better engagement, if possible.
Both beats are drops. The offensive Transcendence comes in. Adam there. Oh, great. Primal Rage knocking everyone back, too. Where are the other damage ultimates? Where is Dragon Blade? Where is Deadeye? Dragon Blade comes in.
I don't know, but we saw Death Blossom come in, but to no effect. Both Tailspin and Coolmat are down, and we see DPS just being laid on heavily by Reaver.
Yes, this is what I wanted to see out of Reaver. Do it preemptively, hold them back, and kill anyone who comes out of the spawn. Really great time.
And there it is. The round is over, and that is an impressive time coming out from Google Me. EnvyUs is going to have their hands full on this next round.
Play of the game.
I've seen this before.
Yeah, Shore4 on Genji. This is just brutal, though. I think this is... I don't even know what this is. Oh, yeah, that's when both Esper and Minstrel decided to peek around the corner.
So 506, I mean, I'm not going to say that's unbeatable, but it's got to be trending in the area. That is a incredibly good time.
If a team can beat that time on Numbani, though, I mean, who else but EnvyUs?
Yeah, I mean, EnvyUs, don't count them out, but they're going to need to get through point A just about as quick as Google Me did if they really want to realistically have a shot.
Had an absolutely incredible time there. I wonder if they're going to switch up the compositions. You know, it would be good for an aggressive offense composition if you run double Lucios and a double Winston.
Yep.
You know, we've seen teams actually change up their compositions. In a few weeks ago when the meta was young, teams used to run pretty standard compositions, but if they needed to set a really fast time on King's Row, that's when you'd start seeing double Lucio, double Winston. Apparently, and we've seen it work and we've seen it fail, but apparently that's just now the new meta, double Lucio, double Winston. So how things change.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the meta has been very, very evolving in Overwatch. I don't think there's ever been a week-to-week where everything was the same. I think the closest we got is that you used to have a very solid core of Mercy, Lucio, Reinhardt, and that has been shaken up a little bit.
Yeah,
but
the first couple weeks of beta, that's then, but then even we saw it evolving as beta went to close, and since we've come back on beta, I have no idea what the meta is and what changes week to week. What changes tournament to tournament, really?
Yep, okay, so something just screwed up on the colors here. Definitely gotta fix this between Google Me and EnvyUs. Not really sure, but...
Okay, but EnvyUs looking to beat a very quick time. I think it was 5:06 we have set. I have a very short memory, but I think it's something like that. They need to get a very quick time to end this set, end this series, and win GosuGamers weekly NA. Otherwise, we're going to go to a Game 5. Google Me looking to upset the reigning champions.
You know, I just realized how much better a name would it be for Google Me if they were named Google Us. I mean, it's more grammatically correct for a team. But then you'd have EnvyUs versus Google Us.
Yeah, I suppose. Didn't we mention last night that if you Google Me, if you Googled Google Me, that you probably wouldn't find the Overwatch team?
Yeah, that's actually not a thing to find. But after today, maybe you would.
Yeah. So I don't know. Teams in esports that don't happen to have sponsors tend to go with very interesting names. Bob Ross Fan Club comes to mind. So we'll see if Google Me stays as they are for a while. Name changes might be in order. Sponsorship might be in order after this.
So taking a look at Coolmat, can Coolmat do what Reaver did on the last point? Because I think that's exactly what needs to happen if EnvyUs is going to take this in the time they need to win the map.
Yeah, huge flank coming in from EnvyUs, and they're looking for that very aggressive start to the point. They're already putting time on it.
And that is not going to happen. Coolmat not having the same luck as Reaver. He's going to get taken out very quickly. And EnvyUs is going to have to win this the good old-fashioned way, but they are getting wiped out in their beginning push on point A.
Yeah, and getting that first push stalled out really, really hurts. It is a long walk. People have taken and abandoned buses on the way from spawn to point A, so it takes a while to reset each push. Each push that is defended is at least 30 seconds.
Yeah, and again, EnvyUs does not really have that much time. I mean, you think about how many pushes they defended. They defended, like, what, maybe 2.5 to 3? They don't have a whole lot of... really buffer time to go here. They need to move.
No, and just the way they lost the first point was actually really brutal. That's why they were able to get such a good time with Google Me.
Yep, and we have the Genji war going on in the backfield. Tailspin versus Surefour. Genji v Genji. Meanwhile, in the back, Reaver's able to take out Minstrel. And when Lucio goes down early, it's usually not good, but they're making something of this. Both teams trading off kills. I can't even tell who's going to win this. Adam takes out Tailspin, though, and I think that might be the go signal for Google Me to have another hold.
Yeah, Esper finally going down after doing some work on the point. That is 2 stalled out pushes, and look at the defensive ultimates that are up.
Yeah, there are so many defensive ults here, and really, this is the worst case scenario for EnvyUs because if you think about it, you're going to see Google Me use all these ults as they come in, and actually winning in that scenario is going to be difficult. I mean, maybe if they get the transcendence of the gods, I don't know, but it's going to be rough.
Yeah, a little bit brutal. But they have to go in. They do go in with their Winston ults, and they're hanging out together up top.
Stoop getting the kill early is a very big deal. Stoop getting a second kill, and Transcendence does work out pretty well for EnvyUs as they come in. Kakai, though, going to take out Minster on the back. More ults are going down. Kills back and forth, but you know what? This is looking good for EnvyUs, and they might have made the best of a very unenviable situation.
Yeah, Tailspin went to a Genji and actually had a couple really crucial picks there. Eventually, Surefour just threw his body at the point, hoping to respawn with his team. Not as good as the offense that we saw from Google Me, but serviceable and still in the running on the map.
Yep, so they're going to take this, but look at the time, Hex. They only have 2.5 minutes remaining to actually get this all the way down. I mean, it's doable, but they're going to have to go so incredibly fast to make this happen.
Right, and because Google Me didn't bleed players trying to defend the point desperately like EnvyUs did last game, they're in a much better position to defend. They're going to make this defense from point A to point B much more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I had to bet, I would say that this is very much going to be Google Me's game. I'm not going to count on EnvyUs. If there's one team you don't count out, it's EnvyUs, but man, do they have a tough road.
Yeah, both beats are drops of each team with a ton of shielding right now. This is going to be a long fight.
Yeah, and Tailspin goes down quickly. Reaver with the double kill, and this is not what EnvyUs wants. They're going to get stalled here again, in all likelihood. I mean, Raz is going deep diving, but Shu and Yale getting work done, Surefour getting work done, and EnvyUs going to get stalled out a bit here, Hex.
Yeah, looking pretty tough for them. There's not even really a composition that they can do to move any faster. They are limited by the payload speed. Pretty rough spot here. I think we're going to game 5.
I mean, really, EnvyUs could call GG at any moment here because mathematically, I don't think they have enough time to cap the point anymore. So we're going to be going to a final and decisive game number 5 here in the GosuGamers Overwatch Weekly for North America. Wouldn't have it any other way, Hex.
No, unless a miracle comes out, and even a miracle's not going to be able to save him. Adam, just with his Transcendence, stalls the cart for another 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, even if EnvyUs were the fully wiped in here, there's just no way. I mean, they could spam Divas and win at this point, but I don't even think the cart can even get there physically.
Yeah, they could spam Torbjorns at this point and get a chance. Torbjorn. I always get mocked for how I say that. I always put the J up front.
Yep.
Sure.
Tailspin with next sure pick up here, but again, Google Me has to feel pretty good. They know that they have this in the bag.
Google Me, regardless of if they win or lose these finals, of course they would like to win. There's, you know, the cash prize and the title, but they have got to feel very good about pretty much their first, well, their second tournament performance that I've seen them in anyway.
Yep, so, the score got messed up in the overlay, apparently.
Well, it happens. So right now, EnvyUs is the red team on my overlay. How are they on yours?
It's not the overlay, it's the score. EnvyUs is up 2-1. That's why things are missing.
Oh, okay.
Google Me is not on match point, even though they have definitely just won on Numbani.
Yeah, we're definitely going to match point next. The teams are going to play it out. They're in the heat of the battle, and we're not going to throw down GGs from the cast perspective. I think that sinking feeling might be going on through EnvyUs right now, and there is the GG called by Surefour.
Yep, they're saying
push the cart to the
GG
end.
push cart.
Yeah.
So there you have it. I mean, honestly, EnvyUs with a very good push towards the end, making things happen, and really, it comes down to point A. If they'd taken point A earlier, I think they had a shot, but this wasn't going to happen here. So we are going to a map number 5.
I wonder if we get to see King of the Hill.
It could very well be a thing. Both teams now are evened up to 2-2. And
we're going to see
Winston play the game. Yeah, I was about to say, wait a second. Who's this person? That is a lot of lightning going on there, Hex.
Yeah, contributed a lot there, and to open it up with a gorilla neck punch. Well done.
So we are moving on to a final and decisive Game 5 between EnvyUs and Google Me.
Well, I guess we predicted going into a long series when we thought it was going to be EnvyUs versus Mix-Up. Didn't turn out that way. Google Me has been so impressive today. I mean, we've seen some of these players before, and we know that Shore4 is one of the best Genjis, but to be able to compete on this level, I mean, Reaver's also really impressed me too. Adam and his support play, pretty much all the players, I can't name them all. They've all done well at their own times, and to be able to take a team, win a tournament last night, and then come in and win another tournament the day after, I mean, talk about just exploding onto the scene.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is now 2-2 between EnvyUs and Google Me, and I don't know what final map we're going to go to. It very well could be a King of the Hill map, but I'm not sure EnvyUs wants it to go down that way, Hex.
No, but I think Google might. So it really depends on who's going to get the bans, and we're going to kind of be able to tell the strategy based on the first couple bans of the map area. But Google Me also has shown that they can win on, you know, your standard payload maps too. I think the only map Google Me is going to try to avoid is probably Gibraltar.
Yeah, I don't think they want any part of Gibraltar, not after what happened last time, although really, they won on Gibraltar in the series, but it was close. It was incredibly close. Yeah. And when they lost Gibraltar, it wasn't so close. So we are waiting now for the final map draft for map number 5, and that is coming out. The players are ready. We're going to get right into it. The final map of the day.
It's been a long day.
So, EnvyUs is ready. They have first ban. Just waiting on Google Me, and we will find out what the fate is for the final map of the grand finals for the GosuGamers Overwatch Weekly North America.
Well done. We're also sponsored by Rocat, DX Racer, and Matcherino.com.
So you can just get
quick one in there.
Energy levels of Hex just going.
Yeah, I know. Like, but I actually get hyped up when I get to talk about sponsors. For some reason, I think it's kind of just like a shtick, you know.
I mean, I think just a part of you is just born to sell out.
I mean, yeah, probably. I don't even have a compelling argument against that. So really, how not true could it be? It
appears that there might be an issue here where actually it ends up with Google Me getting the first ban. We're going to sort this out in just a moment. We are not admins. We are mere spectators.
Okay, well, the bans have started in the lobby I'm in, so...
Yeah, bans have started. Google Me, we'll see if they actually... Well, they just clicked in, so I think they are, in any case. They're actively banning, so they take out King's Row?
It appears so. Envy takes out Nepal and takes out Lijiang Tower. They want no part of King of the Hill. Google Me does take down King's Row, as that seems to be an EnvyUs favorite map. So I have no idea where we're going. I hope we go to Hollywood or Hanamura. We're not going to Hanamura.
Yeah, Hanamura is going to get taken out, and that's just going to be a thing.
Yeah, maybe.
No Hanamura. I mean, we've had Hanamura as sort of final maps, I think, in what, 2 different weeklies now? But not going to happen this time.
Yeah, and there go all of the control point maps. We are left with Dorado, Hollywood, and Numbani. I mean, EnvyUs is supposed to be very comfortable on Numbani, but...
Yep. I mean, honestly, I think EnvyUs would want another crack at Numbani. It wasn't really that bad towards the end. It just... They got wrecked on first point. I don't think they think that's going to happen again. I would not be surprised to see them bring Google Me back to Numbani because I'm not sure they really want to bring it to Hollywood.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. Mostly because I think they lost Numbani just because of a couple mistakes that their support players generally never make. Losing both the supports towards the tail end of that engagement really hurt them.
I mean, I wouldn't even blame the supports as much. They're just the unfortunate bad luck. Well, not really bad luck, just great play of Reaver. But bad luck that Reaver was that on point to get 2 picks on the most important DPS players that they had.
Right, but they did end up staggering deaths towards the end of that defense rather than falling back and playing a more solid defense. I mean, the way they burned through the rest of that map was just because the way that the decisive calls weren't made on the defense for the first point.
So, Hex, we are heading back to Numbani. We are going to finish the series in Numbani.
Seems appropriate. I think I want to say the first map of the day that we did together was Numbani, so let's bring it full circle. Let's end this weekend on a bang. Game 5, EnvyUs versus Google Me. Whew.
Yeah, and this has been quite the series, but like I said, I would not have it any other way. We're ready. The team's ready. The overlay is double, triple checked to be accurate. So for no particular weird issues. And EnvyUs is going to be on the attack first this time.
So yeah, that's the one change on the map. They are going to be able to set the clock, put the pressure on. EnvyUs generally very good at attack. We've seen their first wave of attack been successful during several of their tournament matches. So they're very comfortable taking first point, and they generally ride that momentum to the end. We've also seen them completely shut out a team on first point too, which is how they've won Numbani in the past.
Yeah. Okay. So we need 1 minute now for EnvyUs. I don't know if they're discussing something or someone's merely taking a quick bio break, but when they come back, we'll be going into the 5th and final map on Numbani. This is a best 3 out of 5. Both teams striking at each other, 2 maps apiece, and we're going to end it on Numbani.
Yeah, and I think that 1 minute was very brief, and they're back and
I was going to say
ready.
1 minute. I feel like that was more like 15 seconds.
Time is a hard concept.
When I know it. So they're ready. We're all ready. I'm going to type to go. Channel the old school gamer stuff for you join a StarCraft lobby back in the days, like go. Just be the obnoxious guy who keeps saying that.
Everything in StarCraft seemed to be doubled up. You know, go, KK. I don't think I've ever answered just with K or KK outside of like a StarCraft game.
So I think just answering K, like just the K, feels a little bit blunt, whereas KK is a little bit more formal.
Traveling to Numbani.
All right, sure, I'll buy that.
That's how I always saw it anyways.
I'm sure someone has a whole thesis written about the subject that they'll probably copy paste in Twitch
People
chat.
have completely freaked out over letters, especially 2 letters from all time. I mean, GG itself is a very controversial subject in terms of how to use GG. When is it improper to use GG? Do you GG first? Do you GG second? Are you bad manner about not returning a GG? I mean, you can go on and on. It's just endless. It is endless.
It is very context dependent and subjective. However, we're going to see a GG for match point champion of GosuGamers and a weekly 4 winner taking home $360, and that title on defense. I think we have wait, who's playing defense here? Blue team?
So it's screwed up. It had, even though they were red, now the game is actually trying to make me look bad.
Yeah, actively doing so. But on defense is going to be EnvyUs. They're running double Winston. They're running Minstrel on Lucio. Coolmat is going to play Reaper. Tailspin, not a second Reaper, actually, on Genji. And Esper is going to be playing Zenyatta. I like Tailspin on Genji here. I think a double Reaper is overkill. You kind of need that distance poke in case they decide to come up the main alley.
Yeah, interesting from Coolmat, even though you had that big... well, what am I saying here? They're on defense, so they're not going to run a Widowmaker on defense, but Reaver, he's going to try and go to the well again and try and do exactly what he did the last time we were on Numbani, and I'm curious to see if he can pull it off again, Hex. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, that was really the catalyst to their victory on Numbani, that offensive Widowmaker, but EnvyUs should be a little more prepared for it now, you'd think, so it might not play out the same.
Yeah, I don't think they want to get sniped out like that again, but Tailspin better watch his head because Reaver is on the hunt.
I'm claiming this objective.
Unfortunately, he's run into a defensive Genji, so not quite going the same way.
Yeah, 4 kills, very quick order for EnvyUs,
Wow.
and that's 5 kills. That is a complete first wipe of the offensive push.
I'm gonna be honest, I think Tailspin just activated Rage Mode. That was just outright mad, especially with the last Numbani game as context.
Yeah, that's night and day, absolutely night and day between the last map and this map. I don't know. They're gonna switch it up. They have Reaver now off of the Widowmaker on a McCree.
Yep, Widowmaker on, so Reaver not deciding to stay on the Widow, as you said, going to the McCree, and that makes a little bit more sense. I mean, McCree is really, really good on this point, lots of short areas for him to get value on, and if you chase him in, you could have a flashbang in your face as a result.
Yeah, Coolmat did get flashbanged, and then he just wraithed out, though, so not the kill that they're looking to secure.
Coolmat go, getting lots of DPS on the Kai Kai having to run for his life, doesn't go down though, so good stuff from him, and though he does get taken out by Stoop in the end. Here comes Coolmat with the Death Blossom, is going to take out Surefour, and wow, this looks like a completely different EnvyUs defense compared to what we saw just a moment ago on Game 4.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely, this is the defense that we've come to known from EnvyUs on Numbani, just absolutely shutting down push after push, covering all the angles. As long as they didn't get picked off by that Widowmaker, they're in a stout defensive position. They have 3 ultimates up, Sound Barrier being one of them. Tailspin also has his ultimate up, in a great position to continue this defense, and they only have to do it for 3 more minutes.
So, you see Tailspin now. Tailspin does have the Dragon Blade. EnvyUs really just charged up in general. And they're just ready to go. And Adam now finding himself in the receiving end. Tailspin. Tailspin needs to land one more shuriken. He does. That is going to be a dead down. And he reflects Reaver. Tailspin on point with the balanced Cyborg, man. What can I say?
Yeah, they're going to chase down and just completely wipe out the team. The only thing that went in Google Me's favor that is that they had to force EnvyUs into using several ultimates that they maybe didn't have to. The Esper ultimate at the end felt a little excessive, but they're still with a pretty good ultimate advantage.
If nothing else, you look at it, Tailspin was able to preserve Dragon Blade for that situation, so good on Tailspin.
Yeah, they did preserve the ultimate advantage. I thought both Minstrel and Esper were using it just in case. They didn't actually have to use it, but that's just the benefit of this view right here.
And Tailspin still supported by that orb, and really, they have not had a good answer for him. You see Surefour and Tailspin getting into it with each other here, and Brillo's going to go ham, and oh no! One of the Winstons was knocked off the edge. I don't think he got back on. Very dangerous place to be fighting Winston with ult.
Yeah, there's a lot of Primal Rage going on both sides right now. The Death Blossom comes out, but it's not enough to really even get any kills. Surefour gets a kill, though.
Surefour does pick up a kill with the Dragon Blade, making use of it, but Coolmat and Esper are still up, and they are still holding on to this point.
Yeah, a bunch of kills come down for EnvyUs there. Tailspin doing a lot. Surefour still in the backlines, but he's discorded and absolutely nuked, and whoops, they're going to have to reset and try again.
So, what a difference from EnvyUs here. They went from losing point A immediately to now potentially looking at a full point A hole. What a difference a map makes.
Yeah, I mean, they're very comfortable on Numbani. They probably identified whatever mistakes they had made in their first defense, and they're absolutely shored up. If they hold like once or definitely twice more, they're going to completely shut them out of this map.
Yeah, Coolmat does get a quick pick on Chewinhale, and again, look at Tailspin. Tailspin in the back in the Genji war, but no, he's going to die to Surefour. Surefour getting a little bit of help from his team, and Tailspin is down. And this could be the opportunity they need, but maybe not, as Coolmat is just acting as a vicious frontline as Reaper.
He came in, but I mean, Coolmat is getting all the glory at the front line, but most of its targets have been Discord. There's no way a Winston dies that quickly if he's not Discorded, then shot in the face with Hellfire. So working very well as a team, getting these targets Discorded, then nuked down in 42 seconds to capture this point.
I think EnvyUs has a very good chance of winning this because look at Coolmat's about to get ult. They're going to have 5 ultimates to 0 on the Google Me side. This is not good for Google Me at all.
No, it is. They're in a rough spot, but they have no choice but to try to push into this.
Yep, we have ultimates going down. Tailspin deflect. He goes down quickly. They're going to take this. That's exactly what they need. Coolmat, though, coming in with the Death Blossom, going to get some value off that as almost the entire Google Me team is dead. Only Zenyatta and Lucio still alive, and I'm not even sure they're going to be able to force overtime
They
here.
might be able to stall if someone's alive and nearish to the point. A Lucio could maybe boost in and keep it alive, but I think that is absolutely it.
Yeah, that's exactly what Tekaside is going to try and do, but look at the ultimate situation. If they can get back, it's going to be pretty good for them here because they're actually going to have ults that EnvyUs does not. And no, EnvyUs with the very dominant 0.1 hold. So now EnvyUs to win the turn, all they need to do is capture point A, and this next round could be over before you know it.
Yeah, Google Me has to put up the defense of their life, although we've seen it's possible to defend point A. It's kind of becoming EnvyUs' signature, right? They're not necessarily good at Numbani. They're really good at Numbani point A, both defense and offense on it. So the rest of the map is almost inconsequential because we've seen them hold and deny teams from getting point A several times. They don't need to play the rest of the map. Cool, Matt. 5 total medals, 5 gold medals. What's better than that?
Actually, nothing. We've been over this before, and mathematically, there is actually nothing better than that. Because I don't think you get more than 5 total medals as a thing. So we're about to switch sides here, and EnvyUs looking strong. They're on match point, and they could not be in a better situation right now, Hex.
No, all they have to do is cap the point once. They have 5 minutes to do so, and yeah, I mean, it's really going to be difficult for Google Me to hold this. It's not an impossible defense, obviously. We just saw it done, but that is kind of Envy's signature, is being able to defend point A on Numbani, and I don't know if Google Me can match that. So I think
Yeah,
Google Me got 0 progress, not even a third of a bar. Yes.
I think they got third of the bar.
I don't think we're actually going by those thirds in the grand finals, though.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes, but man, EnvyUs just can't get overconfident here. They need to come in strong, but if they do, if they capture point A, they will defend their crown in a hard-fought battle in the GosuGamers Overwatch Weekly Final, and they will deserve it, and they will show that, you know what? They still might just be the top team in Overwatch.
Yeah, I think the difference, and I think this composition is actually finding its better way now. I think putting Tailspin on Genji rather than a second Reaper really helped them out. They're doing the distance damage was super helpful, just kind of having a range that their former composition didn't allow, and it also gives them the chase and the flanking that maybe a double Reaper doesn't. Genji a little more mobile, a little more flexible as far as his role goes, and so I think we're going to see this composition being the one more preferred. I think double Reaper is more of a King's Row kind of thing.
Yep. So, in 33 seconds, the gates will open and EnvyUs will rush to the point. Again, for those who are just tuning in, this is the 5th and final map for the weekly, and EnvyUs is in great position now to win it all. Google Me now fighting for their tournament lives, and they have to put on a defense every bit as impressive as EnvyUs is in the last half.
Yeah, it is a no small task. Google Me should be proud of whatever they've done today, but it all comes down to this. They need to mount the defense of their life to force a tiebreak of some sort. EnvyUs looking to end it. I think they maybe weren't expecting to have to go to Game 5 here after not having to play mix-up, but here we are, Google Me making a name for themselves, and EnvyUs trying to hold on to their spot atop the NA scene.
Yeah, that's definitely what they're going for here, and in comes Tailspin. Tailspin with the orb. Will Tailspin be able to have sort of the rage Genji moment that he had in the last game? Because, man, his Genji was on point. And Raz immediately taking out Zenyatta. That is a very good omen for EnvyUs.
Yeah, I love what they're doing with the Scoop and Raz hanging out together. It's just so hard to deal with 2 Winstons. You can't even focus your fire to take 1 down, and oh my goodness, this is happening.
EnvyUs looking very strong on the point. And it could be over before it even begins. Everyone has gotten wiped up on Google Me, and now they're moving forward. They know that they can keep the point here. The bar is going up. Can they get anyone there to contest? I think Lucio's trying to run for it, but he's going to get taken out by Tailspin. No dice. GG. EnvyUs takes it in a hard-fought 5 maps, and really just a statement on the 5th map, the second Numbani. Well played to EnvyUs. They're going to take home $360. What a series, Hex.
I mean, congrats to EnvyUs. That is kind of the outcome we expected on Numbani. Google Me played very, very well on the first map of Numbani, and I think EnvyUs just kind of made a statement that Numbani is our map. We're not good at the entirety of Numbani, but first point Numbani is where we really shine. Not only is our defense great, our first plus offenses get through. My goodness, EnvyUs really showed up today, but Google Me, we have to keep an eye on this team. They played extremely well. They beat Mix-Up to get here. They gave EnvyUs probably the best set EnvyUs has had in a very long time. So congratulations to them as well, but congratulations to our champions, EnvyUs.
Yeah, I mean, well played to them in general. What an amazing tournament. Thank you to all the teams playing today. We got some incredible games, really showing off the talent that is in Overwatch already. It can only get better going forward. And Hex, I know you love doing it, but I think you know what time it is. Before we take a break for our winners interview.
Okay.
You have a thing.
Yeah, I just have to thank our sponsors, of course. Our sponsors, of course, are Rocket, who make keyboard, they make mice, they sell headsets. Everything you plug into your computer, you can get from Rocket. They've been with us from the beginning when we were a small, tiny $120 tournament. We picked up good friends at Matcherino.com who do some esports crowdfunding, a really cool platform. Check out Matcherino.com just to get familiar with that website, because we're going to be directing you there in the future as our work expands with Matcherino.com. And of course, we want to thank DX Racer, purveyors of some of the finest gaming chairs. Keep your back aligned, keep everything straight. DX Racer, phenomenal chairs. They all contribute. We get to get our prize pool up to $360. Goes to our winners, EnvyUs. That is my spiel. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in.